Probably in the end, yeah. But right now I shall be leaning forward, pressing buttons for a time. While I also press these buttons.
Oh, we going live?
We're going live. We're live already.
Hi, chat.
It's already live.
How you doing, chat?
You hey howdy hey the chat while I post the things.
Hey, howdy, chat. I can't see you.
Not
Oh, wow. That's a high effort thumbnail you made.
You know.
Right before we went live.
You know, when squeezing it in.
The highest effort.
No problem.
Go ahead and put this on the Ask... Oh, you're making an announcement. Make an announcement. You make your announcement.
Yes, what? What do you want about the
Just
Ask
make,
the Host?
just make, your,
okay.
your announcement and then go to the Ask the Host channel and just leave it up. Because I asked for questions. How are we all doing? Bam.
That's done.
Ayo.
Hello. There's that. Buttons have been pressed. All right, you want to ask the hosts open?
Yep.
Oh,
I
okay.
just got a little... Yep,
okay.
Just like leave it. Yep. There.
Okay.
Cool. Yep. Sweet.
All right.
And I can also pull it open. Pull it open here.
Yeah, you can pull it open there.
I can screw with you in so many ways. So many ways can I mess with Kyle.
Really?
I've hacked the system, everybody.
Oh, yeah. In my house with the Bluetooth.
Yeah. I have control.
That doesn't look too bad with the tree's got a little sparkle on them. Not too bad. Oops.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh, it's thunder. It's lightning.
Oh, no, the storm. Actually, the storm does do that.
We are the heroes of the storm.
The lights flash.
Wrong show.
We didn't lose. Oh, no, that was long ago. That was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do that kind of thing anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There we are.
Man, I hate to see this podcast getting so topical. Just talk about whatever the newest, hottest AAA game is. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting overly topical, everybody.
Oh, man,
I'm so sorry.
I have opinions. Is Final Fantasy 1 too hard?
Is Final Fantasy 1 too hard, Kyle?
Is it too hard?
Is the AI in Final Fantasy 1 putting the AI in Final Fantasy 14 to shame?
The artist really carried Final Fantasy 1.
Oh my, let me tell you.
Let me tell y'all about it.
Yeah. Is it woke?
Is it? Is it?
Can we talk about woke sprites, Kyle?
Yes. The middle finger was flashed.
I, for one, feel like I can't goon to these sprites enough. Why aren't these sprites more
sexy?
bettable?
Bettable? Oh, bettable.
I wanted to say something else.
I thought you meant yes. Yeah. I thought you were like betting man, like a gambling.
Trying to not drop the F-bomb.
Yeah. Well, you know, you got your Leisure Suit Larrys. It could have happened.
Yeah.
What was the sexiest game in 1987?
I was less than a year old. I don't know.
I know. I'm just posing the question. You know, we need a baseline.
Honestly, probably Final Fantasy.
Probably was the hottest game there was.
Probably had the hottest sprites.
All the hot takes on Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah. Yeah, were you into Zelda sprites?
I was
Zelda.
I was really disappointed to see that your Black Mage took off his hat when he leveled up. That was really
massive
upsetting.
Downgrade.
Yeah.
Massive downgrade.
I'm glad they fixed that in future iterations and just
also your
made him
white
some sort of
mage
goblin.
Looked like Ginger Jesus.
Yeah, he looked badass.
Yeah,
he was flowing free.
Yeah,
he looked wild. Kind of looked like he had a chin strap too, because they had to define the face versus the robe.
Yeah. Is our audio recording going?
We should.
It's ripping.
It's ripping.
We have in fact ripped it.
It is ripped.
We have ripped it. So how you doing, chat? Hi, everybody. I'm back from my adventures to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albuquerque.
To do a hosting gig for the New Mexico State University.
How'd it go?
It was very tiring. But I like that crew a lot. They're good people.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was the most hosting I've ever done.
Just back to back.
I did
raw hours.
I did opening ceremony and 5 2-hour long pitch competitions.
Oh my goodness.
So 10, 11 hours of being on stage and a lot of behind the stage running around and coordinating.
Oh my goodness, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah. Garrett broke bad. I did drink a lot of alcohol while I was there.
Do they do that in Breaking Bad? Do they drink a lot?
No, I was just gonna say I didn't do any illicit substances, and then it made me think of alcohol. Is, I guess, kind of it's a legal
controlled substance.
It is a controlled substance. Yeah, you're right, because it is in fact controlled. Yeah, never been to Albuquerque before. I've been to New Mexico before, but I usually go to Las Cruces, which is usually backwards for a lot of people. If they've been to New Mexico, have only been to Albuquerque and don't even know what Cruces is because it's a very small town compared to Albuquerque.
But this took place in Albuquerque. Yep.
This took place in Albuquerque. And just outside of it, I was at the casino that's out there.
Wait, which one?
Isleta
Gaming
Resort
Palace?
Casino? Yeah. Is it called Gaming Palace?
It was when I was growing up.
It's Isleta
the Isleta
Resort
Gaming
Casino.
Palace.
Yeah, and they shot a scene of Breaking Bad there.
Oh, nice.
Matter of fact, yeah. If anyone is here a Breaking Bad fan, it's where they shot the scene where Jesse goes to rehab.
In a casino?
It's also a resort. So there's a spa with a really nice pool and a waterfall coming down.
Okay.
And that was where they set up the scene for this like more high-end rehabilitation facility in the show Breaking Bad.
You wouldn't believe their slogan was Isleta Gaming Palace, and they just sang the name. I think they were where the sky's the limit was their slogan growing up.
I think I still saw that around a couple places. Yeah. No, it was a cool place. It's just far enough away from Albuquerque to feel like the middle of friggin' nowhere, because the only thing else by the casino itself is a golf course, and then on the other side of the golf course is just nothing. It looks like a Star Wars planet. It's just as far as the eye can see until it hits a slight bump of a small mountain, and you can't see the horizon anymore. So yeah, take that, flat earthers.
They require constant ownage. Speaking of flat Earth, how about that freaking ghost mermaid room?
What?
That should have been flat Earth.
Are we on Final
That
Fantasy
was
1
bullshit,
already?
is what that was.
Are we on Final Fantasy 1 already?
I was just trying out a segue. We don't have to head there quite yet.
We don't need to head there
Yeah,
just yet.
not quite yet.
No, I had a good time. It was a power trip for sure. I was quite tired by the end of it. Did a lot of sleeping. Drank a lot of tequila.
Nice.
Yeah, the food was good. I got my green chili burger, which I have to have every time I go to New Mexico.
I don't think I've ever been over 21 in New Mexico. So yeah, never had that experience.
It's cheaper than drinking here.
I grew up 8 to 18 years old in Albuquerque, the Albuquerque Valley, Rio Rancho. But I haven't been back since after college was over.
That's right, because you went to Florida after that.
Yeah, parents moved up to Michigan, and it was all over.
Huh. That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm sure it looks very different.
Huh. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm happy to be home. I thought I was getting sick on Saturday. And then like one of the best feelings in this world. You wake up Sunday and you're like, "Oh, I'm totally fine. I'm fine."
Nice.
It's just I climate hopped probably too much, because I went from swamp to desert and then desert back to swamp, and all the connective tissue in between, recycled air.
Yeah, that'll dry you out.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm feeling all in all surprisingly well rested. Like, knock on your. I think
That's wood. Yeah, that's heavy as hell. It's real wood.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah,
on a elevating platform.
Yeah. It's just been a lot of sickness going around lately, so I was paranoid on Saturday.
Yeah, it ain't right.
I made it until like 11 before I started feeling sick. Went and saw. I had a Beetlejuice-filled weekend.
Did you go to Beetlejuice already?
Oh, yeah.
Was it good?
Yes.
Really?
They managed to make a decent Beetlejuice sequel. Yeah,
Huh.
it's not a bad movie.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it myself. My review for legacy sequels, is that the term we use?
I like the distinction you're making. I don't know if it's the term, but
here's my review of like legacy sequels, which are like very late returns to beloved franchises. Your Jurassic Worlds, your Force Awakens, all those kind of things. At my most base level, I just want to know, will I watch this multiple times after I've seen it the first time? And if the answer is yes, as far as I'm concerned, it's good. Jurassic World does not pass that test. It is too stupid to make me want to watch it more than once. Batman. Someone said Michael Keaton and made me think of Batman. Beetlejuice, which is the official name of the sequel.
What?
It's just called Beetlejuice.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's cute. Okay, I see. I see why
which
they did,
means if they don't make a third one, like, what are we doing?
I mean, why revive it if you're not going to do another one?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it quite a bit, and I'm definitely going to add it to my collection of movies, and it will become a regular staple of my spooky season viewing.
Oh.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not perfect. It's little bit of character bloat,
Yeah.
a little bit of a first act flow issue. Really, it sounds like we're reviewing Dawn Trail right now, but it had a lot of the same issues that I think the beginning of Dawn Trail has. Too many characters, doesn't move along fast enough.
Interesting.
But overall, I had a good time.
Yeah, wonder if something's in the water.
I wonder. Yeah.
Because it definitely felt like we were going for the get your money's worth movies there for a while, where every movie was like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And they weren't good movies. It was just like they said, well, movies are expensive. People want to feel like they got their minute per money. Put it out. But, sir, it needs at least half the edit. Just put it out. Make people happy.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of modern things are poorly edited and poorly lit. I thought this was pretty well edited, and it was very well lit. It was nice to... Felt like a return to form for old Tim Burton.
Oh, well, I mean, do you want to know what I've been watching?
Is it some isekai? It's definitely not Dragon Ball Z after you broke my heart right before I left.
I didn't give it a solid go, as you know.
You don't give anything a solid go.
I give lots of isekais a solid go.
You give a lot of garbage a solid go.
Well, I mean, this
but
is
if it's a beloved franchise that you didn't watch before you were 12, oh, no chance.
Well, I was frustrated because I thought it would go faster in the Freezer Saga, and I felt like it would feel different than when I watched it when I was younger, which is didn't move at all. And when Piccolo,
you skipped the Saiyan Saga?
I didn't have cable, so I could only watch select episodes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant on your new viewing.
What?
Your new attempt.
I skipped straight to Frieza because that's where I got interested as a kid.
Oh.
So I went back, started at Frieza, and Piccolo said the exact same thing 3 times over in the same conversation, saying that he wanted to be revived on Namek so he could have the fight. And it was so long and so long-winded that I didn't really give it a good go.
You did a lot of things wrong. First off, skipping. Second, not watching Kai.
Well, yeah, I know.
Watched
I
the
didn't know
Kai version.
Well, Kai makes no sense because I don't know what a Kai is. So I wouldn't just jump into Kai.
It's Full
not knowing
Metal
what it,
Alchemist Brotherhood. It's the correct version.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's the manga correct. You didn't ask.
It just has a really big guy on it.
You talk to thousands of strangers on the internet daily, and you could have asked for a little. How many unsolicited tips for anime do we get?
You know how much I enjoy organic discovery, even if it's led by a robot algorithm? It's nice having no opinions about things and watching something. It's enjoyable.
You've dissected enough Dragon Ball Z opinions that's not what you're doing when you.
Yeah, but I didn't know Kai was like a retelling. Oh, okay. At any rate, I can't even find it because I finished it, so it's not even on my list anymore. It was something like the Monster Development Department. It was super cheap, but it was really cute. It was about a department that has to make monsters to fight Power Rangers in budget. So like they're designing a Hydra, but they have to remove the poison from the Hydra's bite because working the poison into it would be too expensive. And they put it out under budget, but they have to invade and so like as they work through the different departments of this evil corporation, different departments have different suggestions about what should go into the monster. And it ends up completely different at the end.
So it's a game of telephone for monster design?
It's more like watching dungeon masters argue about what's important in a monster.
Okay.
So that was fun.
So at the end, it's devoid of purpose and direction, kind of like cynical Hollywood cash grab films?
No, because the main character's got heart. Yeah, so then I watched...
It's anime, of course. The main character has heart. That doesn't... Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
And then I've been watching No Longer Allowed in Another World, which is, imagine...
There hasn't already been a show with that name.
I know,
that is
right?
The most generic isekai
Look how
name.
short it is, too. Like, no way. Look how short that name is.
No Longer Allowed in Another World.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's hair is dumb, so it looks like something.
Wait, which guy?
The pink hair.
Oh, the pink hair is a villain. I'm on episode 9 there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The guy in the back looks fine. Looks moody. Got the straight eyes.
Oh, he's fun. He's basically like if Edgar Allan Poe or one of these, romance writers.
It refuses to focus.
Yeah, well, you're going to show my whole Crunchyroll account to the people.
Oh, no, One Piece, followed by Yu Yu Hakusho. Oh, my God.
I know, all my recommendations.
You pervert.
People will think I watched fairy tale movies. I don't know if that's true. Really good or not. But anyway, it's essentially if like a Edgar Allan Poe type writer, almost a Tim Burton-y sort of.
I know who Edgar Allan Poe is. You don't need to dumb this explanation down for me.
I'm exploring other ideas. Imagine like a early 19th century writer ending up in another world. He has no idea what video games are, and he just wants to write depressed things all the time. And it's fun to watch him wander around and talk to cat girls and stuff. Yeah, man, that's what I've been watching.
I like writing depressed things. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. Thanks for the super, Luthrinus. Last time we assumed we didn't need to keep stating that Flat Earth is dumb. They got out of hand. Garrett is on point with the ownage.
they must
appreciate
be
the support.
Routinely put down to make sure they know their place.
They're still on their bullshit.
Well, yeah, but if you watch that documentary, they're just so sad. You know, that's the worst part.
Well, because at least they have each other.
They have the technology. They're measuring the curvature of the Earth, and they're just unwilling to accept what's before their very eyes. It was one of the saddest things I've ever watched, that poor documentary about them. I'm trying so hard to believe.
Kyle, there's a lot of instances in this world, in this life, of people with a lot of information in front of them and just refusing to accept it.
Well,
yeah.
Like the location of the
I was exposed,
Rosetta Stone guy.
I was exposed to a lot of cable news on the backs of plane chairs in front of me. What is wrong with people who watch cable news?
I mean, I wouldn't watch news where someone can see me watching it. That's my first thing.
Oh my God.
I don't enjoy the multi-screening of modern planes.
I was just sitting there
screens.
being like, that seems made up. And I Googled it right then and there. And I was like, oh, look, it is made up.
How could you fact check on a plane, you madman?
I was bored.
Yeah.
I woke up from being asleep. Oh, good God. Yeah. So it's been all right. I was on I watched Beetlejuice 1 Friday night when I got home.
Nice.
Beetlejuice Saturday. And then a bunch of the cartoon, which I found on Tubi.
Oh yeah, Tubi's
got every episode.
They have the old cartoons.
Oh man, Katie and I we were both just like trying to fall asleep. And I was just like, I wonder if the cartoon's streaming. Where did you just watch a cartoon? Katie's like, oh my God, I did. I haven't thought about this in forever. Watch the shit out of the cartoon. I was like, me too. We put it on. We remembered every beat of the intro. Like, we just kept Leo pointing. We're just like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. I cannot remember. I can't believe how much it was like seared in my memory. By the way, there's 2 intros to the Beetlejuice cartoon.
Season change?
Seasons 1, 2, and 3 were on one station, and they had the original intro. And then season 4, which is, I think, 6 times longer than any season before it, they went to another network, and season 4 is the last season, but there's like 60 some odd episodes, whereas previous seasons I think are 12 episodes.
Okay.
And they changed the intro for that.
Okay.
And that's the one you think of that has the really detailed, like, dead Beetlejuice at the beginning. Kind of looks like the creepy close-up drawings on Courage the Cowardly Dog, if you ever watched that show.
Oh, I like when they do those.
Yeah, not quite Ren and Stimpy. It's not like gross out. It's a little more like...
Not like when
2D.
you zoom in on Squidward or any of those.
Well, that's more like acrylic rendered. This is a little more flat, but still... Yeah, anyway.
I watched the Mask one a lot. That was probably the...
Yeah, I watched that and the Jim Carrey. They were both Jim Carrey.
Ventura.
Ace Ventura. I watched those a lot too. Yeah, we why were they doing animated treatments for shit that was really not appropriate for children? I mean, Beetlejuice is on the cusp.
I mean, if Ghostbusters edited out the weird ghost in the bed scene, I think basically other than being scary, it'd be fine. But Ghostbusters had that same thing happen.
The librarian scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, the librarian was scary.
Oh yeah, the ghost BJ.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's like dressed as Napoleon or something like that.
He's in his pajamas.
Well, no, he has a Napoleon jacket on, suggesting the whole thing is a dream. But I thought it actually happened.
I've never thought about that being a dream sequence.
Yeah,
I just assumed in Ghostbusters canon.
No, he rolls out of bed because he's like having a dream. And if you see, he's wearing a little Napoleon jacket.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's all in his head.
Okay.
He was very insistent that made the movie.
Yeah,
that's just what Dan Aykroyd wanted to share with the world in that moment. He's very insistent about it, apparently.
Did you see the trailer for it's an SNL? I don't know what you would call it because it's not a biopic because it's an ensemble cast, but there's a feature-length film coming out about the first episode of SNL, and it looks really well made. I really want to see it.
Oh, like a Steve Jobs kind of like.
Yeah, kind of.
Is it enhanced world like the Weird Al one was? Like it's kind of like an alternate reality?
No, I think it's
meant to be.
It's grounded.
Oh.
It's like, what one was the not Ashton Kutcher, Steve Jobs? That was just Jobs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, there was another one after that.
It looks like it's that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Saturday Night. It's literally just
called Saturday Night.
Yeah, it looks good. I want to see it. I saw a trailer before Beetlejuice, so it's on my mind.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, a lot of realizations watching the Beetlejuice cartoon that I think it informed more of my sense of humor as a child than even Jim Carrey movies. And it's no wonder I ended up with somebody who just wants to decorate the house with Halloween decorations.
That's how I felt rewatching The Real Ghostbusters, seeing them go through the monster manual, breaking down what the monster was weak to, what it had advantages over. I don't read any real news. I swipe right. And then this is my news. This is all I ever do.
Left.
No.
But you're going to the left.
Oh, is that what swiping left means? Because
Yes.
my thumb is moving to the right. So if it's not here, I don't know about it.
It's breaking my brain. Everything on Kyle's phone that he's showing for the audio audience, Kyle is swiping on his phone to the news utility on his Google phone.
Nah, my Google phone.
And it's all video games.
It's all just video
all
games.
All of it. This
Yeah.
man, nothing about the election. Nothing about defamed streamers returning to whatever
just
format will let them turn on a stream. Just video games.
Yep, just video games.
I want to live in your reality. Your newsfeed is wonderful.
Yeah, look at that.
There's a Carbot animations on your newsfeed.
Carbot just started playing, you know?
Oh
just going.
No wonder he's so happy. It's great. I need to live in your world.
But you can't think about existential things too much when you're carrying 25 pounds of child around.
That's a really
you
good
got to
point.
keep it. You got to keep positive.
That is
you
a
got to
good
stay in the
point.
moment.
It's a good point. But Kyle, I've heard from so many parents that the only thing that's important is who's president when you're a parent.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with you yourself
They're going to know.
being a parent.
They know, man.
Yeah.
You can't. Why do you think I paint my minis standing up? Because they know the second you get into something, like occasionally you'll be playing blocks on the floor and you're stacking some blocks. No big deal. Stacking blocks. And all of a sudden your brain goes, how many can I stack? That's the second a kid's going to knock down your tower.
It's the plot of the Lego movie.
Yeah. I think of it often.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that yesterday when my son asked if he could paint some minis. And I said, yes. And he did I'm so jealous of his whimsy. He took the Space Marine and he was like, this needs a bath. And so he dunked it fully in the water and he's got a soaking wet Space Marine and then grabs the lead belcher, the like shiny metal and starts painting it like
metallic paint
and doesn't wet it at all.
Doesn't
and I'm
dilute
just like, Lego movie, just thinking about the Lego movie the whole time, let it happen. And it turned out so amazingly badass. It looks so cool because all over it are these spots where the paint dried and kind of like I'm sure there's a technical word, but like a fungus circle, like a circle of mushrooms, how they form in circles,
because the
droplets.
water would bead and paint would be rejected from places where the water really built up and beaded up, and then it would land on the outskirts of the water, and then as the water evaporated, you'd be left with a circle of clean, unpainted area, and then
so it looks like he was like bombarded, like his armor is dented all over, like he's been
Boba Fett,
like he's been shot to shit, like it looks amazing.
I was so mad when they repainted Boba Fett for the Boba Fett show. His armor looked way cooler when it was
distressed,
like super distressed. When he first shows up in Mandalorian season 2, like it's just like the most beat up Boba Fett armor has ever looked, and I loved it.
I
absolutely loved it.
Why would they?
And then they repainted it
because he became the Hutt or something that?
Well, he got kind of a new... I think they did it in that same season of Mandalorian. No, I think because he finally got his armor back, and then, he gets a new outfit with black undergarments instead of that, like, really, really pale tan.
Okay.
And then he also has more of... I don't know what to call it. A skirt? Kilt? He has, like, a longer trailing bit above his thighs instead of it being a bodysuit. And I actually think a lot of that is pretty cool, but I didn't like how cleaned up they made his armor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think the new Boba Fett stuff, I think it's a bum rap. I think there's a lot of fun in it. It's not perfect, but...
It's easy to pick out bad clips and share them around, and I think that's the...
The 3 episodes with the Tusken Raiders is like, I think, some of the coolest and most actually trying something new I've seen out of modern Star Wars.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's give a rough time. A lot of people are like, Robert Rodriguez,
There
he's
was
silly.
There's an interesting YouTube comment I saw yesterday.
Long tunic, that's probably it. Good
Yeah.
job, Caddy. That is probably it. Yeah.
And it was a quote from the restaurant biz. Everyone eats with their eyes first. And then you
You've
eat
never
a
heard that
second
before?
time. No, I've
You've
never
never
heard that.
heard you
Never
eat
in
your
my
eyes?
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was a lot of eye eating with Bubba Fett. I think
I think there's a lot of that going
a
on.
lot of us
In
from
general,
afar
right
just
now.
saw it and went, a whimper of uninterest. Why is this
I think Rings
happening?
of Power ran afoul of that. And
Yeah.
but I still watched it and got bored. I think I heard season 2's fine. I was so just bored out of my skull with 1. So if you're enjoying it, more for you. I'm
Yeah,
not here
apparently.
to make it the poster child for everything wrong with Hollywood these days, but yeah, it's not for me. But yeah, I think there's a lot of that. We were talking before. Was it before it went live? I think it was on the show just now when we were talking Beetlejuice. I said I think there's a lot of issues with editing, and I think there's a lot of issues with the lighting these days. But I liked the lighting in the Beetlejuice sequel. It looked like a Beetlejuice movie should
Purposeful.
look.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's been one of the big problems with the computerization of Burtonism, is that it's lost that hand-touched.
Yeah, there are a lot
Look
of
to it.
sets, a lot of practical costuming, and even some legit stop motion in the Beetlejuice sequel. So I was pleased.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good time. They had fun with it. So anyway,
Well, before you
we
anyway,
have a really-
you're gonna clap. I know. Yeah. I'm gonna BRB. I'm gonna BRB. So I'll BRB.
do you need to pee?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Kyle
we,
needs
just, we just had sandwiches, man. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. All right. We don't usually go to the bathroom in the middle of a podcast, but here I am now talking to myself, and that's chaos theory. Yeah. So Kyle's just gone, which means I can just sit here and talk about how Kyle just went the worst attempt at getting back into Dragon Ball Z he possibly could have. You know, he really just did himself and one of the greatest animated creations in history a disservice by jumping straight back into the place where he thought he'd be interested, and then also not looking up if there was a better way to kind of enjoy the glory that is DBZ. So yeah, let that this is what happens when you walk away from the podcast. You also walk away from control of the discussion. And this is me, Garrett Weinzierl, informing you, always stay on your own podcast. I'd like to welcome back to the program, walking through a bathroom door right now, a good friend of mine. You might know him as the whimsy creator himself, but I know him as Kyle.
Hi.
Welcome back, Kyle Ferguson.
Hi. The duality of man. The
duality
maker
of
of
man.
cozy streams, but also the loud one.
Indeed.
It's weird how
At
you
least
can
he
be
didn't
both.
start with GT. You're right, SRX Chaos. There is a worse way to start trying to get into Dragon Ball. Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe I just saw it on friends' TVs and it seemed that slow growing up
Oh,
because I didn't watch
it
it
was
on
slow.
TVs.
It was absolutely
But
slow.
yeah, it was.
But it as it tickled the balls, you know? It made you excited for what came next.
A few too many times.
And by the time shit actually, like, it was a Pixies song. Do you ever listen to the Pixies, the band?
No,
the Pixies?
no,
Yeah.
no,
A lot of
no,
their
no.
songs, it's
It
like-
really, but then it pops off.
it's kind of slow, trailing, and then just everything just goes. It's like you
Okay.
get the needle drop moment. Yeah, DBZ, it's all about the needle drops. But you can't have a needle drop without a slow buildup.
No, I think I like. I don't know.
Again, just watch Kai, because there's still a buildup, but it's not nearly as. It's just you don't have like 10 episodes in a row.
I'm on my last episode of
Goku
Not Allowed
going,
Another World, so
Yeah.
bring it.
Yeah, but yeah, you're also talking to like Vegeta number one,
Super
big
number one
world biggest
fan, ultimate.
and you're not gonna go on a Vegeta journey without starting at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, because that's where he gets introduced. That's where he's a true villain, and you get to see the progression of him finding Vegeta's morals
Okay.
and finding that he does have a point where he will become an honorable person. But that doesn't land if you don't watch the Saiyan Saga. So.
Which is all part of Kai.
Well, Akai has all of Dragon Ball Z in it. It doesn't have the filler that the original run of the anime has.
Right. Is it reanimated or is it cut? Just a.
I think a lot of it is just cleaned up.
Okay.
I think it's just remastered because it is widescreen.
I didn't know that's
I
what
believe.
Kai was. I thought
Yeah.
Kai was the big guy who has the open chest shirt and still has his tail. That has black hair, but he's large, but he's not broccoli.
Raditz?
I have no idea. It looks good when the cat shows up.
There's a King Kai.
That's the part I want to get to. I want to get to where the cat shows up. I like the cat.
That's Dragon Ball Super. That's an entire a new. That's the latest Dragon Ball that came out
I like the cat. He's cool.
10 years ago.
Beerus.
Beerus, yeah,
Yeah.
Beerus is cool.
Yeah, I like
great,
Beerus.
Great voice actor in the dub too.
Beerus sounds chill.
Yeah, just Beerus is wonderful. You'll like Beerus. You would like Dragon Ball Super, and I have restarted Super many times, and then I get distracted.
But you were about to segue before my lemonade caught
I
up with me.
was going to segue because we have we have such a hot, timely topic to discuss. You know, there's nothing more timely than Final Fantasy 1, which we have now both beaten.
We did it separately too, on separate streams.
Yes. So as I talked about at the top of the stream, at the top of the jump here, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico last week. That's why I wasn't on the streams, and Kyle was left to fend for himself in a world where we typically duo stream. I have to imagine there's a few people that only keep up with us on the podcast.
Yeah.
And in
Absolutely.
case you're unaware, we stream together every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're always streaming together. It's kind of our shtick.
It's a thing. It's an oddity on
So-
the internet.
Yeah. We do everything together, including splitting the check. SupportOurBromance.com.
Supporterbromance.com.
Yeah, we split that too. And yeah, so when you had your third child, I was, left with a solo stream of my own.
2 weeks. What'd you do for the other week?
I played some Final Fantasy 14, and then I did a cocktail stream.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite popular. There's been requests for a sequel cocktail
Nice.
stream. But I'll just wait until you have a fourth child.
But what? Don't curse me, my good man. I'm busy enough as it is.
There are ways to not worry. I'm about to try and convince my friend to have a vasectomy live on air. There are things you can do, sir. That's what I was trying to say.
The radio's told me.
There's plenty of things you can do. There's even less permanent things you can do.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So I didn't expect to end up here. And I'm trying to pivot back to
You got it. So
37-year-old
the results of my own actions became a person.
yes.
And you were left alone,
And so
terribly alone.
because of our journey through Final Fantasy 14, there have been a lot of requests for us to go through the classic Final Fantasies because you and I have been very public about the fact that we didn't grow up playing Final Fantasy games.
No.
We've both played 10. You beat it. I have not beaten 10. I also played 10-2. Did also not beat 10-2. And then I've beaten the first two Kingdom Hearts, and I've never even looked at the third one.
I mean, to be fair, we were all insufferable. Let me lead with that before I go dissing any Final Fantasy children, because we were all insufferable. And I bet you I was insufferable about Pokemon cards and Pokemon in general, and then eventually Magic the Gathering and all the other myriad things I was into. But it was really hard to talk to Final Fantasy kids because they were very much in their own world, and I had no idea what they were talking about.
I didn't really meet any until high school. And I was already into anime, and then I met a couple girls in my art class that were obsessed with Sephiroth and would draw him all the time.
Oh, sure.
And I was like, that's a cool sword. Who is that character? They were like, what the do you
How do
mean?
you not know?
Who is that character? And I was like, but I don't know who this. And then they told me about
Has this
Final
sword gotten
Fantasy
longer
7.
over time, or has it always been that long?
No, it's always been that long.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always been that long. Because I eventually wanted to watch Advent Children when that came out when I was in college.
That made no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Banana.
Yeah, I don't get it. I still don't get it. But I knew, and I watched enough like G4. They had a show on G4 that just showed video game cutscenes, and so I saw the big moment in 7. When so and so gets stabbed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I had enough vague information about that.
To know why he was sad?
Yes. Yes.
Or he's a robot or something like that. Maybe he was programmed to be sad. I'm
Cinema
not sure.
tech. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, I would have that on all the time. I know we're sharing old clips of X-Play right now, and they haven't exactly aged great, and that's putting it mildly. But it was like, there's no changing that it was a big influence on me, because I didn't, other than Nintendo Power, I didn't know that you could report on video games for a living. So G4 was my first exposure to that with X-Play and Attack of the Show, which was like death throes before G4 was, died. That was the end of the road for that channel. But yeah, and I think that also informed my opinion, because the butt of the joke anytime they reviewed a Final Fantasy game was that it was more cutscene than gameplay.
Right.
Which is not inaccurate. But as someone who didn't have a PlayStation 1, it didn't endear me to want to go back and hunt. Eventually I did get a PS2 and I got Final Fantasy X. But yeah, so that's my history of Final Fantasy.
The one we're talking about, we're about to talk about Final Fantasy 1, which came out December 3rd, I believe, of 1987. So actually could not play it on release. I would have been 6 months old.
Oh yeah. But I had a stash of old NES games from my grandfather, who also, he and my grandmother gifted me my first gaming console, which was an NES.
That's badass.
He had his own NES, so when I got babysat over there, I had access to his collection of games, and it had shit like Zelda, which was before my time a little bit. And for the longest time, I hated Zelda because I couldn't read when I first put that cartridge in. And for
you disliked it for that?
A long
you were mad at
portion of my life, I was like, Zelda's that boring reading game. And then Ocarina of Time came out, and I went in kicking and screaming, but I ended up over at a friend's house who had it, and I was like, shit, this looks like the coolest game I've ever seen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. That and DuckTales is still to this day the hardest game I've ever played. That DuckTales game was bullshit.
It was really hard.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really hard. I had a computer one, and that wasn't very friendly either. The mummy part was terrifying.
I had a Computer Ninja Turtles game that was also complete bullshit.
I mean, most of those games are bullshit, including Final Fantasy 1 on release, which was full of terrible bugs, I've been told.
Yeah, and also it was just a massive grind, but I probably would have liked it had I played it around the time that I discovered Pokemon, which was my first turn-based RPG. It would have been Pokemon Red.
It's a fascinating game.
Yeah. So anyway, while I was filling time, while you were welcoming your third child to your brood, I decided to play Final Fantasy 1 because
why not? See where it all started.
It has been recommended. There's been requests for pretty much every Final Fantasy except...
Name one?
12?
Yeah.
Is 12 the one with lightning?
No, that's 13.
Oh, 13. 13 is the one no one requests.
Except for... But there's always somebody, right?
There's always somebody.
There's always
I think
somebody.
13 looks cool. I really want to play 13.
From the outside, lightning seems fine.
Yeah. 2 and 13. 2 gets a lot of shit. You're right. You're absolutely right, Lamondar.
Yes, 2 gets a lot of shit.
Yeah. No, 12 is the one everyone's like, if you like Star Wars, you'll like this. I'm like, I don't know. I don't see any spaceships. I see airships, and there is a big difference. But anyway, I digress.
Well, yes, 12 was sold to me a lot because I like Unicorn Overlord. So it's a program system for the battle. And that sounds like real cozy fun.
I know nothing about that, but yeah. Oh, by the way, Balatro is about to hit the phones, so no excuse anymore.
Oh, yeah, I saw that everyone's saying their free time's gone.
You were looking for a Switch game, and you said you would pick it up. Did you lie to me?
No, I did lie to you because I ended up playing Final Fantasy 1, and it kind of fulfilled my cozy.
That's okay, because I'm excited to talk to you about Final Fantasy 1.
Also, I'm stuck in a terrible dad loop because I want Astrobot, but my son really wants Astrobot, and he needs to learn to save his money. So I have to wait on him to save his money up enough to buy Astrobot so he can play it.
Here's the play.
Wait, you think I buy it in secret?
You just buy it in secret.
Buy it in secret?
You buy it in secret. You play it because
it's my money at the end of the day that he's going to be spending.
Exactly.
He's 5 years old.
Exactly. And then when he saves the money,
but I would already own it. It's a conundrum. It's a weird.
does he understand like achievement pops? or
Well, no,
anything
but
that?
like if I open my PlayStation, Astrobot's sitting there. Like he found the basement in Astro's Playroom where it had the countdown like 2 weeks ago.
He understands icons on the like the home
Yeah,
UI.
he can sight read because he's almost 5, so he knows a lot of words, but not how to spell them, but what they look like. So sight read.
So symbol recognition.
Yeah, so it's called sight reading nowadays, where basically, you know when you're playing like
no, I'm not a parent.
a modern Mario game, when it's like, oh no, the castle was attacked by, and there's a little Bowser icon, and then the word Bowser's like red and it's shaking. When you were mad as a kid at the game being unreadable, that stuff helps out a ton because you can be like, Peach, Bowser, the Bowser word is shaking. Bowser did bad things. I don't know what exactly, but Bowser's the villain here.
Okay.
And you can make your way through that as a child.
It's not that I underestimate the child, everybody. It's that I wasn't thinking about the damn PlayStation home screen.
PlayStation
that
home screen
shows
that
everything you've been playing. Usually it's the parent going after the child's online history.
I need to be secret.
But now you need to protect your own online history.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not looking at porn. I was just playing
I'm trying to play Astro's Playroom, jeez. So I would own it already, but I'm keeping anyway.
I want to play that so bad. I picked up Star Wars Outlaws and I fucking love it.
Really?
It's the Star Wars game I've always wanted.
Oh, that's great.
It's so for me. I understand why some people don't like it. It is 100% a stealth game. It wasn't billed as one. But I love it, man. Oh my god, I love it. Oh, I just snuck through an Imperial base, and it was like, it felt like I got to sneak through an Imperial base.
Isn't that what they were doing in the first movie?
Oh,
they were the best parts of Obi-Wan were when he was sneaking around too.
Yeah, I really like that game.
That's badass, man.
Anyway, really
haven't heard
enjoying
that.
it. Yeah, also fuck the Pikes.
The what?
The Pikes.
Or what are they?
There's a reputation system in the game where you can earn alliance with the 3 major crime syndicates of the Pikes, Crimson Dawn, or the Hutt Cartel.
Oh, I see.
But usually when you do something for one, the other one starts receding.
Oh, okay.
And every time I see the Pikes, I just shoot them in the face.
Oh, I didn't know.
Great.
Well, that sounds
great.
fun.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of role playing in a sense, mechanically.
Yeah, in a sense. It's what you want in a smuggler setting in this time period of Star Wars.
I'm really excited for Space Marine. I'm really foaming for that thing.
I'm hoping it wins our patron poll.
A little bit. It's still dead
Wednesday.
even.
Yeah.
Screw
it. I'm gonna wield my. Please vote for Space Marine. Please vote for Space Marine.
Full co-op, campaign. I want to decorate my little Space Marines. Painting there.
Yeah.
Been working on my Doomstalker. He looks freaking great.
Anyway, back to
Final
Fantasy 1.
Yes,
I'm trying to remember how I felt going. I think I was kind of nervous and was like, oh, I'm going to go play an old game and I'm going to play it publicly and I'm going to be by myself. So I was worried that I was going to get into it, have a bad time, and then spiral being a grumpy Gus
for many hours, for at least 20 hours or so.
Because we're now thinking about more streams that we can do like this. We're calling it like project weeks. And the first instance of this was me streaming Final Fantasy 1. It was the second of the 2 weeks that you were gone. And I was like, well, I just wanted to spice things up a little. I wanted to do something besides Final Fantasy 14 because we were in the middle of Endwalker.
You know what I thought? I saw a man playing too much MMOs and he was like, I just want to beat something.
Yeah.
I just want to feel like I've completed a journey.
Too. So there was I was just trying to think like, what can I get through? And I knew the 7 is like, I just want to play 7. It's just, even though I know the big momentous part in the story that everyone wants you to play the game for, I want that in my lexicon of video game pop culture knowledge. It's the number 1 game on my wall of shame that I want to play and beat. But I was like, I can't get through. I know how long that game is. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it in a week. So I was trying to think of, and I was like, screw it. Let's just do 1. But I was nervous going in because it's an old ass game. I had a really good time. I loved it. I had such a good time streaming that game. And I don't know what I was expecting because I knew it was a turn-based RPG. I knew it was a party-based turn-based RPG. And the game I've beaten the most over and over and over again in my life has been the original Pokemon. I have beaten Red probably more than 10 times in my life. It's a comfort game for me. I have a save going on my phone right now. I'm halfway through, or more than halfway through a Fire Red run, which was the Game Boy Advance redo. The graphics are better, but it's still sprite based.
What would it even like? What point of comparison is there? Like, I played the Ninja Turtles game on the NES. I played some Mario, but I really haven't played a lot of NES games.
I mean, at the time, that was kind of. I mean, there were other turn-based RPGs. Once you got into Super Nintendo, like I was at, like I had after I beat one, I was talking to Katie because she was a huge SNES kid. Like, you ask Katie what the best game of all time is, she's going to tell you Link to the Past.
Okay. It's a good game.
She walked down the
It is
aisle.
actually mechanical.
She walked down the aisle to music from A Link to the Past. That's how much she likes that game. Our wedding toppers were Link to the Past sprites of Link and Zelda.
It's honestly a mechanically impressive game.
And so I was talking to Katie because she likes anything. She likes retro games. Once we made the jump to 3D, she's like, that's where I kind of fell off video games. I was like, okay, I can understand that. But she liked that Link's Awakening redo that they had come out on the Switch a few years ago.
Yeah, it was
She
cute.
ate that up. Like, I haven't seen Katie take to a game like that since the first time she played World of Warcraft.
Interesting.
So anytime I play anything retro, I talk to her about it and I try and learn something new about her childhood. And I'm like, did you ever play any of the Final Fantasies? Because I know you had an SNES and I know you played the crap out of it. And I know your mom played it and she was a big fan of anything. Her mom would play a lot of these games and beat Zelda like before her. And so they always had the player guide around their house. These are all new things I've learned about Katie in recent years as I talked to her about her gaming upbringing. And she's like, no, I never played a Final Fantasy. But and I was talking to her. I'm like, are you aware of like the genre of turn-based strategy? She's like, no, not really. And then I explained to her and she goes, oh yeah, I did play a game like that. And I think it was Illusions of Gaia, which I mentioned on a stream during that week, and like chat like lit up. Like, your wife's cooler than you.
Wow. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. It was an SNES turn. It was was it Squaresoft? It's from the competing.
There was a Dragon Quest.
There's Squaresoft and then there was Enix.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Enix. So it was an Enix game. And yeah, so went down that whole rabbit hole. And so yeah, that's I think when you get to SNES, I think a lot of kids from our generation have a more than one turn-based strategy game that they can draw from to kind of compare it to. But I think if you're just talking Final Fantasy 1, I have no idea what it was at the same time.
Certainly my point of comparison was probably Pokemon. Would be the closest thing outside of Final Fantasy X to a turn-based. I, in fact, found myself thinking about it a lot like Darkest Dungeon. You know, you got a 4-man party. There's kind of an order to them. The front guy has statistically a higher chance to be hit than the back guys. The combat on the other side isn't very comparable, but it just kind of scratched that party layout looting business.
Yeah.
And I found it to be one of the chillest, coolest games I've played in a long time. Like, I want to rebuy it on my Switch just to like do it in the background of things because the auto battle was chill.
The auto battle was the Pixel Remaster is a legitimately great product.
Yeah,
like they've done a phenomenal job because I'm the same with you, dude. It's the reason I've played Pokemon Red so many times is because it's relaxing. It's like my friends who read books over and over again. I'm not that. I read a book once and I never pick it up again. If I want to remember what happens, I pull up a wiki. But it's my comfort book, but it's a game. There's just I love that music. I like that simple battle system. I like making very slight tweaks to my roster because you better believe I'm probably going to have Blastoise rolling around in there. And I can see myself doing the same thing with Final Fantasy 1 because of the party system. Like I already am like, what would it be like to try and do it with nothing but white mages? What a weird pain in the ass that. But with the auto battle, and you can crank up XP, you can crank up money. What's the word I'm looking for? Acquisition. You can. It's not a massive time sink.
You could.
And even when I play Pokemon on emulator legally, because I've owned like every version of Pokemon Red they've ever sold, I always hit that 2 times speed because that game's too slow.
Oh.
Like I would really love Pokemon Pixel Remaster. Like, give me all of the dials of the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters on like old school OG Pokemon games, and I will replay the living shit out of Pokemon again. So yeah, that's because they're just comfortable. They really zen me out, man. And I want to play the rest.
Of the rest of the Final Fantasies?
If it's turn-based, I want to play it.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really bad. What I'm trying to say is I think I get you, folks that wish modern Final Fantasies were turn-based, because it's cozy.
Well, yes.
It's so cozy.
I think, I think there's something to be said about exploration. As a non-consumer, I certainly understand a team wanting to try new things, try to make a Devil May Cry, try to make a real-time system. And plus, the old games are all there. And the pixel remasters are quite fabulous. Like, the music was really good. Turning off and on the old versions of the songs.
Did you play it mostly in original music or reorchestrated music?
The reorchestrated was the majority.
It was nice that I could toggle it on and off and hear what it used to sound like, but I couldn't stick with the old version very long because they did such a good job with the new version.
Yeah, it had all the same charm to it, and was very much the same song. In a couple of cases, there was one or two where I was like, "Oh, this is very different," but for the most part, it always had the same soul.
The water dungeon, the music is very different.
Yeah, some of it was just like the choice of instrument made such an influence on the type of music it was.
Yeah,
that obviously you would want that. But hearing like the Mushroomery, the sort of Matoya's song was cool.
Oh, dude, yeah, that sent me.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I understand that reference. It's like we're in reverse now because we played Final Fantasy 14, which is a massive love letter to every other Final Fantasy that came before.
Boy, is it ever!
And then you go and you play 1, and you're like, oh, there's so many Shadowbringers. This mostly Final Fantasy 1 references.
I mean, honestly, like, I feel like Yoshi P goes into his office, closes all the windows and puts on Final Fantasy 1 again. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do? Like, it was kind of intense. It was like New Hope levels of this is where it all started. All of it. Like,
well, yeah.
An intense amount.
All right, I'm just going to jump right into the question I've been wanting to ask you since I heard you were going to play it. How was it playing Final Fantasy 1 as a lifelong D&D nerd?
Oh, it was solid.
Because chat was just like D&D while I was playing through it, and I didn't grow up with D&D.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sure. Mind Flayer.
Yeah, Mind Flayer.
Probably should have been
Pseudo
sued.
Demon and there wasn't real Mind Flayers in there, though. They didn't take that out, which was kind of weird. They've made a lot of changes over the years. I figured.
I mean, don't we have a Mind Flayer in Final Fantasy 14 as well?
I don't think it's called a Mind Flayer.
I thought there was one instance of that model where it's called a Mind Flayer.
There's one as a boss at the end of Tamtara, Deepcroft, but I think it's called something else.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I thought that was one that Wizard of the Coast was, legally bound to hunt you down and destroy you. There's definitely a beholder that I know got turned into Eyeball Man or something like that.
It is called Mind Flayer in Tamtara. Hey.
Oh, okay. So
it is.
Maybe they're not as legally pressing as I thought they were. But Wizards has made some weird moves over the years.
Did they coin that phrase, or was that a Lovecraft thing?
Mind Flayers?
Yeah.
There are just certain monsters that they have chosen to be their legally distinct ones that they make others remove from their tabletop RPGs. So like aboleths or like giant talking catfish that are psychic. There was an entire campaign in Pathfinder about aboleths, and now that's
the Ultralisk in Heart of the Swarm is called Torask.
Well, Torask is, I believe, an ancient Indian monster that is public domain.
The Tarask is based on?
Well, the Tarask is ancient Indian. The Torask is a take on that StarCraft did. And like animes and different properties can have Tarask. That's fine. That's like, Zeus. No one, you don't press legal action for someone calling your character Zeus. But there are certain monsters that D&D has decided, like, these are theirs, and Gary Gygax made them before we kicked him out for legal reasons, and so on and so forth. So Beholder is one of those. Like
Mind Flayer species is copyrighted? Interesting. Because, I've seen this batted around before, too, and I didn't go read up, so I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I heard that there was a Beholder in Final Fantasy 1, and they had to change it.
Yeah,
why didn't they not have to change Mind Flayer?
I don't know. But there's a lot of misinformation about the game, obviously, because it came out in the 1980s. Like, there is just a lot of rumor because it is such a magical game. Much like old Hollywood movies, there's all this like, did you hear someone died on the set? Like, they're all fake, but there's stories that become embedded inside, like it was the Final Fantasy. It was going to be their final game for the company. It was going to be they were going to go bankrupt. There's legitimately to it. And the creator in an interview played into it and was like, yeah, if it had failed, we probably would have all been bankrupt, and I would have never worked on a game again.
It's not as black and white as that, like,
as an
urban
Aragorn
legend
broke their toe kind of moment, but
it makes it sound, but there is truth to that statement.
Exactly. A lot of those things with the bugs and the spells that didn't work with the limited characters, you create this this perfect ecosystem for rumor, for what's it called when there's an alligator in New York?
Invasive species?
No, it lives in the sewers, and it's an urban legend.
I just said urban legend like a few seconds ago.
I wasn't paying attention to your word usage, and I was too busy trying to think of my own word.
Didn't a guy just get arrested, though, for keeping an alligator in his apartment?
Probably, but yeah, these myths grow because the game became such a thing.
Now I'm going to find out that was an urban legend.
So
modern day one.
The D&D monsters in there with a couple name tweaks, they were in there. Like the second I saw a cockatrice, I went, oh, that's what the golden needle's for. Because I knew that was a monster that turned you into stone. Which was extra interesting because I have the books here for advanced D&D, and I was able to look at if 1987 D&D knowledge would be applicable to this moment. Not modern D&D knowledge, but that came in the 70s that applied to this game. And it's weird too to see, like, when you hear in like video game design at the time, there wasn't a lot of resistances and advantages and all these things like we just take for granted as like Pokemon players. Like, oh, of course lightning does more damage to water, obviously. But that was a completely new thing for Final Fantasy 1. And most like executives were like, don't put that in a video game. Players will find that too frustrating. No one wants to miss because they're using lightning versus earth. That'd be a bad time.
No,
there were some weirdos like the pirates. No, it wasn't the pirate, but the water monsters. Some of them were water and earth aspected. So if you were water aspected, you had resistance to earth, which was weird because you're a pirate and you hate the earth because they're landlubbers or something. Like some of the resistances weren't perfect. But thanks to that bestiary system, you could meet a monster once and be like, oh, damn, that's what a thing. And then look in there again and see their resistances and their weaknesses and all that kind of thing.
Jasoni, thanks for the super. Said, would wizards go after mind flayers, or would it be more being illithid that they would be protective of?
And that's an interesting thought because, illithid is the technical term of the society that the mind flayers make up. Mm-hmm. And then there are splinter factions that believe in the elder brain and some don't. So, yeah, mind flayer, I don't know why they're not protecting mind flayers. It could just be they can't. Like, mind flayers just, it's gotten out of their hands and they don't even try. But they're going to get those damn aboleths and certainly those beholders. But yes, I did find the D&D, to answer your question in a short form, I did find it enriching of the experience.
I'm glad, yeah, because it was all over the chat while I was doing my playthrough. And I just kept thinking to myself, man, Kyle's going to have a field day with this.
Well, and with the white mage too, it was a classic cleric. My hit points were very high.
What was your party?
It was a warrior named G-Mandius for you, because you're the G-Man. So G-Mandius.
Okay.
The rogue was named the Curator. That would be John the Rogue.
As he should be.
Verkarth, the red mage. And Issa Kyle, the white mage.
All right, because I did the only, okay, you had a rogue and I had a black mage. That was our only difference, I think. Oh, no, I had a monk.
You had a monk instead of the rogue.
I had a monk instead of the rogue, and I had a black mage instead of a red mage.
Right.
Okay. Because I did warrior, monk, black mage, white mage. And there were a lot of cries of foul play in chat because I had a character named after our good friend Jesse Cox, and it wasn't a red mage.
Yeah, I mean, the red mage wasn't great. I think you probably had more fun on the black mage. The red mage did have some advantages, and my main concern in a 4-person order-based combat, which again was a point of contention with like whether or not the order mattered. Yeah, it did matter. We eventually figured out that it did, but there was a lot of rumors and scuttlebutt about whether that even happened, right? Back in 1987, or if it was bugged and didn't work that way. The red mage was okay. But you needed that warrior in the first position because defense, and he got a lot of exclusive items that was only good for him, like special shields. I think beating it without a warrior would be really hard your first time.
The warriors are great. They hit quite hard. I'm surprised you didn't do a monk because like I feel like monk like helped me just cheat the first half of the game because it just gives you so much economic power because they don't need weapons.
Well, I never turned off random battles at all.
I did to leave dungeons. Solely, I don't think I talked about this on stream, but it was solely to help with the flow of the stream. I just thought it would be a worse viewing experience if I was just tripping over random encounters on my way out the door.
I don't think you're wrong. I bet my viewership suffered because of my lack of turning them off.
Also, I started to get over level and I found it boring. So I also was like I felt perfectly like morally in the right to turn off encounters sometimes.
But that's how you got the money. Didn't you have to turn on increased money too to make up for that fact?
I think I did up it a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Or no, I think I grinded for the money, but I turned off XP. Because I know I turned off XP a few times.
I know you did on the bridge. People mentioned that you turned off XP on the bridge at some point.
Yeah, because every boss up to that point was pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want him. Which, by the way, was a massive mistake because chaos is such a huge
We'll get
leap.
there. We'll get there.
Which,
We'll talk about
which is like probably like if I was actually going to review this game, I'd be like, what is with the jump from any other boss to chaos? It's ridiculous. You can just steamroll every other boss in the game.
Yeah. It was an interesting experience.
It's an old school RPG, and I think you just they expected you to grind.
I never turned off random battle encounters. I made it all the way to the bottom of the marsh hole and then had to exit because I couldn't beat the pseudo demon box. And then I had to come back. The mind flayer box there in the bottom that you got the crown out of.
I died to that, I think, twice.
Yeah. So I turned full around, went back up and bought items and stuff and came back down, all with battle.
You didn't have rope?
On. There was rope in the game?
Rope would just exit you from the dungeon.
Oh, I
think it's what escape rope in.
I never saw a rope.
Was it rope? Or am I just thinking
you had exit as a spell?
That might be what I'm thinking of. Chat, remind me, is there rope?
I think, didn't Black Mage get a...
He stopped going to item shops. Oh.
Yeah, because they were only selling the same items.
Well, I watched your final stream and you were so hilariously broken over level.
Well, sure. Yeah, but that's all I'm saying is that by leaving by hand each time,
exit is later. No rope item. Okay, I'm thinking of tents. There were campfires and
yes,
where so you still need to get your ass out of the dungeon, but you didn't need to go all the way back to town to heal up.
Right, but I was out of potions and stuff, so it ended up like the way the money was informing my play kept me on that random battle, and I found the exchange between getting money and battling so well figured out that I really liked my settings of not changing anything.
I mean, I would agree with them, except I think you were horribly overleveled.
Not for chaos again. Like chaos, I was very happy I had done all I did leading up to chaos.
Yeah, chat's reminding me that you also get a full-on cottage at some point. You just carry a home in your bag.
Yeah, well, that's something players love. Everyone loves the instant college. Maglifso's Magnificent Mansion. I forget the wizard's name because I always replace it with something from my world. I don't use Volos when I make...
I don't know what that is.
It's a spell that allows you to make a door, and then when you open the door, there's a mansion inside that your players can have.
Oh.
So your players have like a portable mansion with them at all times.
Gotcha.
Very popular D&D thing.
Okay.
To give your players around like level 10.
Everybody wants the Normandy in any game they play.
Yeah, people want a Normandy. And if you can't give them that because you're trying to do something more ground-based and non-airshipy, you end up giving them a Magnificent Mansion or something like that.
Okay, you could do like can't you just do like a tent and it's bigger on the inside?
Yeah, you can do that.
TARDIS tech.
My favorite was I gave them a 6-sided dice ranging from really crap house to really nice house. And each night they would toss the dice and they'd end up whichever one.
It's a random generated player housing?
Exactly.
That's great.
It was like MASH when you were younger and you did the circles on the paper.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
That's freaking great.
Yeah, it gave some character to it. People would leave the wrong items in the wrong house.
Oh, my word. Oh, God.
So I did have 30 levels. I was level 30 by the time I started like hitting up the water temple and stuff.
Dungeon.
So I was getting powerful, and I was doing a hyper carry rogue, which was fun because the red mage started out really decent and then just fell off completely. But the rogue just took off 80 carry. It was very Dota in that way. Like, I don't know how you beat this game with a spellcasting team. The way I come up with it is like you make them not spellcasters. Like your white mage idea, 4 white mages, you go all the way to the end and get the katana thing there at the final level before you fight chaos, and have a team that uses gloves and stuff for lightning to just survive. And then you stumble through some sort of buff build on a single white mage while trying to hyper carry him.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm curious why chat's being like, wait, Garrett watched last stream. Why don't they want me to watch last stream?
Oh, we were hoping that
because you're gonna lord the bridge over me.
Yeah, because we were hoping in person with complete surprise we could lord the bridge over you.
It's like lording over any type of accomplishment when you just nuked the opposition.
Well, I didn't get nuked twice in a row, so that's what happened.
First off,
to you.
You got lucky as shit, and also you were significantly higher level than me.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
because I was reaching 50 around that time.
Yeah, I think you were like 48, 47.
Yeah, what were you? What were you up there?
I don't remember, but I wasn't that high. I wasn't that high. We could find out. We could pull up.
We could.
If you go to your VOD, you react to my VOD.
Yes,
so
we could
all
put
of the
ourselves.
Info would be there. 42?
42? Okay.
Right. 3 levels, 5 levels.
I got 8 levels just doing that final chunk.
I don't think all your characters are the same level.
No, I had some deaths here and there for at the end of battles.
I think Val, my white mage, was like a level lower than everyone else.
Why was Val in position 4 dying so much?
I don't know. Towards the back half of the game, my mages were getting wrecked.
Just bad luck on the rolls of health, because that could happen.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Spite.
But so
Garrett isn't raging nearly enough. I was off. It was my last day at the event, and I was exhausted. I was up at 8, and I went till 6:30. Face
just
on,
going, yeah.
Welcome everybody to the herd. Let's bring up the next contest. Just segue. Voice for voice. I had 4 alcoholic beverages, a green chili burger. I was exhausted, and you made me laugh so hard. There was no universe where I was mad about it. I think it's the most you've ever made me laugh, and we weren't in the same room.
That's
together.
amazing.
Your bridge run. Folks, if you haven't watched it, if you don't like Final Fantasy, you probably haven't made it this far. But if miraculously you've made it this far into this conversation, and you don't like Final Fantasy, you've written off Kyle's stream because you're like, I don't want to watch him play Final Fantasy 1. Watch his final stream, watch his bridge run, and more specifically, watch him watch my playthrough of the bridge run, because I was dying. I don't know if I was, just punch drunk, exhausted, but I'm pretty sure it was legitimately hilarious.
You were at it for 40 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Grinding for that War Machina.
We both got that showman bone, man. Like at a certain point, you're just
crowds
like, we're
cheering.
You can't. What are you going to do? Say, nah, it's over. I'm leaving. They would turn on you.
Yeah, it would not be pretty.
I don't have that much control over our audience. No.
But I got in about 3 minutes compared to your 40.
Oh yeah, you got a lot. You had a couple of things. You had a lot of things go pretty right, including just how fast you found the War Machina.
Yeah, that was nice.
I was so jelly. But I wouldn't do anything different. My experience it was fantastic. It was just, especially when you went back and watched the VOD, I forgot what an experience it was. And I was like, oh my God, I was losing my mind.
My favorite part was when you found the
camera.
6 mind flares, and you're like, Is this it? Is this what I've been grinding for? Is this the only thing?
And then there was one other one too where I'm like, I haven't seen this yet. No? Okay. Just very quick moving on.
I did get jury duty again, though. So, just so everyone knows what my luck is worth.
I should go play the friggin' lottery or something. I'm due for something at this point. Yeah. Jeez. That's so funny. Props to the chatters for donating for more. Thanks you for the support. Yeah, everybody, like big time.
Well,
it's I mean, completely like for the sausage it's made for that's the kind of thing that we clearly notice, and it's not that money's the only thing, but the views were good on my stream of Final Fantasy 1, and it made pretty decent money. Like it paid the bills.
It
Like,
was engaging.
yeah. Like I'm like, do I need to worry about my bills this month? And like, can I take Katie out for a nice extra dinner or something? Like if those all happen, like I'm like, hell yeah. And we notice those things, and then it makes us want to do those kind of things more. Because yeah, if I had gotten 12 viewers, you probably wouldn't have streamed Final Fantasy.
I'm sure the recommendation for it would have been somewhat lower. I mean, it was still a fascinating. Like I said, what we play? We basically have been playing the Clone Wars. Final Fantasy 14 is the Clone Wars, and we had never seen A New Hope.
Yeah,
and it was absolutely insane, even down to the bridge, which is where you can get a chance to spawn an extremely rare chance, like 1 in 200 War Machina. The chance that that sprite even existed inside the game at that point is so insane, because those tiny tidbits and those tiny little things like, oh yeah, his name was Sid, by golly. And like, there's no reference beyond that. They just said the name Sid once. But that legacy that built out of that one name,
these echoes,
was absolutely insane to see kind of happen in real time in a very cozy, cool game.
And I was obsessed about that kind of shit as a kid growing up with Zelda. Like all the callbacks and references, especially if you play Twilight Princess or oh my God, Wind Waker has some of the best throwbacks.
Never played that one. Don't be mad at me. I just didn't own a GameCube. Like, I just don't.
Oh,
yeah.
fair.
Like, I didn't hate it.
Play it at some point. First off, Nintendo, could you make it easy to play that goddamn game on a Switch, please and thank you?
There's got to be something wrong with it, right? Because
do you not like money?
Why
Nintendo?
would we have Luigi 2 re-release on Switch when we don't have Luigi's Mansion? It's actually insane. Something's wrong with the GameCube.
I don't know, but it's the same thing. Like, I was obsessed with that kind of shit with Zelda. I loved when it brought back Ganon, but it's a different Ganon. And I know people have there's a timeline for Zelda. I do not care. I refuse to accept. I do not realize the existence of a Zelda timeline. To me, they're all individual legends, and sometimes they blur lines between them and between worlds. I don't want that stuff explained. And I think it was a mistake that they ever made any sort of media that actually established a timeline. But I like that mysticism to it all, and it's fun. I like that I'm picking up on that now with Final Fantasy.
Well, it's so strong. It's such a useful choice, because Final Fantasy, it's essentially DMing with different parties. You know what I do when I DM? I steal stories I know my audience doesn't know. Next time I'm DMing for a group that hasn't played 14, guess what Primals and Tempering and Ascians are? Rename characters in my book. I'm going to use that stuff. And Final Fantasy found a way with their sort of like multiversal, rarely crossing worlds to make a system that is very easy to design for. What should we call the weird giant thing with all the muscles that looks like a bulldog on extra steroids with horns? Behemoth. How many work hours did you just save? How much stress in a creator's head was limited, like unleashed, using real gods from mythology? Like, we can sit here and be like, oh, come on, you could have come up. Not just like, let it ride. And this power of Final Fantasy has to create new worlds and continually change from like a steampunk to a, what would you call Final Fantasy 7? Because it's not really steampunk, it's something punk though. It's definitely, it's got pistons that are going up and down.
Diesel punk,
right?
Yeah.
You take it to these different universes, but it's very useful still to just create with. And Final Fantasy 1 showed that basis and how far they could go, rather than Star Wars, which is just kind of circles this one point in time over and over again, or 2 points in time with the Old Republic, or Warcraft 3, which is continually mined and scratched at when we get to have these absolutely different games from Final Fantasy.
Yeah. And how wonderful is that? And I feel the same way about Zelda. Like, Zeldas are much more similar between each installment, but they're also still very different, and they feel very fairy tale.
Yeah.
There's things I like about both, because all of them are in service to the never let a profitable product die in capitalism. These things are just going to keep going, and I'm not going to go too far down that hole, but because of that, we get good and bad reimaginings and follow-ups to everything.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
until it no longer makes money, they're never going to stop making these things.
If you want to sit there and be like, "Oh, I hear hypocrisy," yeah, because we love it. Like, what are all of us doing in Dawn Trail but sitting there go, "Man, I wish Endwalker was referenced more." Like, we're all guilty of wanting the things we like to come back.
I'm playing Dawn Trail a lot, and so far I've been like, man, I wish they would just tie this a little bit more back into what came before it. 'Cause
Right.
It feels like for me, a little too fresh of a start. Like I'm
So there's huge advantages to both, but as a creative point of view, looking at Final Fantasy as a property, I just see it and I go, this is so empowering that you can tell this many different stories and have this many different worlds while still being like, it's a behemoth, and the crowd cheers.
yeah.
Not that there was a behemoth in there, actually. That would have been too much. That's amazing. But more talking about like the war machina, chaos, the fact that he time looped himself, and we made how many videos sitting there saying there couldn't possibly be time travel in Final Fantasy 14.
If we had just played Final Fantasy 1, we would have been like, oh, it's totally on the menu.
Yeah, it's 100%. If anything, it must happen.
Absolutely on the bookshelf. By the way, Kura, thank you for the super that says fucking Zelda timelines. How do they work? Exactly. But yeah, and then Wolf is once again requesting we watch Fate Zero, the ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny anime that's a reverse isekai, and Garrett won't hate it.
He
So you
won't hate
say.
it?
So you say. So you say.
I don't know. It is cute.
Let me finish the Suicide Squad isekai first because I'm enjoying it.
Okay, I would sell Fate Zero as
Oh, you've seen it and you think I'll hate it.
mythological Pokemon. So like, I choose Gilgamesh, I choose King Arthur, and then you watch them battle.
Oh,
Yeah, that doesn't appeal.
no.
I didn't think it was an auto kill. I thought that was a decent, because you like Pokemon. I thought I was doing a decent job.
I don't really care for mythological characters.
Oh, well, like mythological
they
heroes,
do very little
you know?
for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a lot of dudes.
I need it really moderned up. Like I could stomach Hercules,
Hercules will be there,
and I can stomach God of War
yeah.
because they really modernized that shit.
But what if when you took Hercules, your Pokemon out, he ate all the dinner? You know, there's times like that where it can be amusing.
To folks in chat saying Kyle sell it bad, would you be typing that if I lit up right now? Or are you being results oriented?
I think they're being results.
If I was like, oh
yeah.
shit, that sounds cool, would you be like, good job selling it, Kyle?
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty decent sell.
I'm just saying. Although I will say, you're usually pretty bad at selling things to me.
Yeah, well, I don't try very hard because I don't want to be hurt.
Oh my God. Maybe one day. I'm not going to give you too much hope on that one. Kyle Johnson said the War Mech is in a Fate in Garlemald, by the way. Yeah, we've been made aware of it. They're also just running around on the moon in Final Fantasy 14.
What about the moon?
The War Machina from Final Fantasy 1 are running around on the moon in Final Fantasy 14.
Wait, why are the Morrockmen on the moon?
I don't know, but the model is reused up there in that one section by the crashed Allegan satellite, I think.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that one. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, I'm glad you like it, Draswani. Thanks for the super. A point in Suicide Squad Isekai's favor. Watch the first episode. Katie liked it. We'll probably finish it. Also,
Nice.
I put Gurren Lagann on the other day.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
We both laughed quite a bit.
Oh,
we were
cool.
just like, it was on in the background. We were folding clothes. I heard Kate giggle. I was like,
That's a good sign.
okay,
Yeah.
maybe this will get through. Maybe we'll get through. Both of us did look up multiple times. We're like, God, this is a perverted anime.
Well,
But,
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also, if you're
But-
gonna be perverted, you better be funny.
And well animated.
Yes, and
That helps.
And like Kill la Kill does that, and Chainsaw Man does that. They clear those bars.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I just feel gross watching it. But you better make me laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
And in the case of Gurren Lagann, also inspire me to be a better person.
Yes, and also the Shinji-esque energy doesn't last very long, so just
I'm
stick-
fine with that kid.
Yeah.
He's not that whiny.
Oh, okay, good,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
That would be my main recommendation. It's
he's
gonna be
fine.
okay. It's gonna be okay. Keep going.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. That kid doesn't bother me. It's not whatever. I forget who the whiny character was when I tried watching Attack on Titan. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get through it. It's just the most
he does go on. He
screeching.
does, yeah. He does
Just nails on a chalkboard.
absolutely goes for a while.
Yeah.
But so you made it to chaos. Well, actually, no. I've got a question for you. Where did you get like most lost? What was your big lost moment?
Marsh Cavern.
Really, just like not getting through it. You kind of got turned around.
That I
in there?
remember, and then I think getting the airship. I was just like, that's when I think I pulled up the manual.
Yeah, the
I was
manual.
like, where the frick do I go for this?
Yeah, that manual suggestion cost me some viewers, Garrett.
They were probably kind of shitheads anyway.
It was weird. Yeah, no, I had a full printout of the manual that came with the 1987.
Okay.
You know, it was the book that came with it, but there were quite a few spoilers. I'm not watching this that flew by in the chat.
Oh my god!
Like,
yeah, I do.
Which,
I cannot even pretend to give a shit.
I will say, like, the final page of the book was now go to the desert with your float stone and open the airship. And if that hadn't been there, I would have had no idea what to do with that float stone. That was really obscure.
Yeah,
because you get the stone out of the ice cave, I think, and then you just take it to a random patch of desert, and bam, you get an airship.
Yeah, no, I would have been pretty lost there.
Did you find the camp pretty quickly? The guy selling the ferry who received no repercussions?
Guy selling the ferry in the camp?
Yeah, it was a traveling merchant who bought the ferry that you used to get the oxy ale.
I think I did find him. Oh, that was the caravan. It took me a minute, but I that was post airship, right? So you could move pretty quickly.
Yes, you were going around, no random encounters, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the stream, I know I definitely went to the wrong place at least once. But I found it fairly quickly. It wasn't that long.
Okay.
It took me way longer to figure out how to get the airship.
I got horribly lost for quite a while because I couldn't remember where the Rosetta Stone guy was. The one random dude in the top of the Earth town who said, "You don't know my name, I hate you." And that was your only reference point to turning in the Rosetta Stone. I played this last week. You played it 3 months ago, 5 months ago. My son is 5 months
I remember
old.
the Rosetta Stone because it was a really unique sprite, and there was only one other guy that looked like him. And I remembered a guy being like, "I have a brother who's trying to crack language." And I did remember that, and I had a notebook, and I would keep notes when something seemed like it was a side quest.
Good on you.
So I wrote down, I have hand notes somewhere. I think it's in a moleskin from my playthrough of Final Fantasy 1.
Got terribly lost.
I would also chart the treasure rooms in, like, when you're in a dungeon, and there'd be like all the little square rooms almost in a grid pattern. I think Marsh Cave was the first time I encountered this.
Yeah, just the big room.
I hand drew grids, and I would check off rooms so I didn't get more random encounters than I needed to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was trying my best to keep a good, like, I just wanted a good flow. I didn't want to be completely guided because I knew that would piss a lot of viewers off, but I also didn't want to get completely lost in the obscurity of an old game because I knew that would also hurt things. This is why earlier I mentioned, like, we look at the performance of things to see if we want to continue doing them, which wasn't just a ploy to, like, remind you to support us over at supportourbromance.com.
Supportourbromance.com.
It all comes back to, and we talk about this when we talk about why we stream what we stream, we're always in the search of that Goldilocks zone. And it's like, it's a game that we enjoy playing, that viewers enjoy watching, and is also conducive to a streaming environment. Like, all of those things need to hit. And in our case, there's two of us, and so it's particularly unique. But in this case, we're talking about a game we both streamed solo. But like it's that. And so because of the fact that I'm playing it publicly, the stream's enjoyment does play into my enjoyment because I notice. I try not to mention it because that just brings the mood down. But if I see 100 people leave, I'm like, ah, shit. In my head.
Yeah. Well, you're better at that sort of thing than I am. It takes me forever to notice. I'm going.
I'm a big analytics guy.
We combine well.
Yeah. So it's just, and that's the thing that I think the camp of people who are mad that you printed out the manual don't understand, is that if you take too long, because you keep doing it wrong over and over again, that will also cost you views. And in the long run, I have noticed in our experience, getting it wrong for a really long time costs more viewers than going in with a little bit of pre-knowledge.
Sure.
does. Also, I'm just personally less pissed off when I at least have a vague grasp of what I'm about to take on.
I loved it. Granted, I was grinding, I'm walking across deserts and hitting random encounters. So there was plenty of time to talk with chat. And one of the big things I talked about was just how much I miss manuals, just how powerful and useful it felt to just have paper with me that could go with me. Whether or not it was I'm sitting on the couch at night or in the bathroom or something, like just being able to be like, man, I'm thinking about that game. Oh yeah, that's right. I can prepare. I can think about what spell I might buy tonight, and not in a screen-based way. Just this is the information. I love creator connoisseur content, and it's a weakness of mine because I've missed out on many great D&D adventures because I'm always like, Kobold Press. I kind of want an official D&D adventure. And it's nothing against Kobold Press. It's nothing against this myriad of creators who are creating amazing things. There's just always been something special to me about when the person who made the thing puts out the thing. And I like an official Star Wars novel versus a fan novel. There's something special there. And having what the creators decided I needed to know to play their games was so empowering because there's so little text on screen. My whole adventure, I maybe read 2 paragraphs, really, across Final Fantasy 1.
FF1 is dialogue and just narrative light.
It was beautiful because everything I needed to know, I'm just thinking of you can point fingers at Ubisoft games and the Monster Hunter. Oh my God. It's how much text do you need to describe how to eat a bowl of sausage? I get that it's buffing me. Don't remind me, or Batman, when you would get to the final chapter and you unlocked a new item to unlock doors to never use it again, but there's a huge tutorial for it. It was just so nice to be like, this is the basis of my information. Now, how can I break your game? How am I going to defeat chaos?
Yeah. Yeah, and the obscurity, too, I think is part of the charm of Final Fantasy 1 because it made it seem kind of modern. Bethesda games, when they finally open up and you go do whatever the hell you want, kind of felt like that. Your Breath of the Wild, it got so much love for not over holding your hand.
Yeah,
FF1 kind of feels like that. It's a really unbloated, broad adventure experience. It's very simple, while still being massive. It's you go on a big adventure when you go play Final Fantasy 1. If you haven't played it, I think it still holds up, especially if you enjoy turn-based style games. I think it's really good. I have thought about starting a second run just privately more than once since I did it.
How'd you beat chaos?
What do you mean, how'd I beat chaos?
How'd you beat? What was your strategy? What'd you do?
I died once, maybe twice. I think I was just flaring on my black mage as much as possible.
Oh, so it was spell casting that got you through.
Monk plus black mage was a shit ton of damage.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, no, I was buffing my monk, I think is what I did.
Okay.
I think buffing the monk was the main course of action. I don't remember. It's been too long. There was a multi. I only died once. Okay, cool. Thanks for the reminder either way. I'm so glad I have people here to remember things that I did better than I remember them. But yeah, I mostly just buff the monk. Warrior was hitting fairly hard. The black mage was no slouch. So you did to the monk what Kyle did to the curator. There you go. Yeah, I carried.
Curated.
My monk was the carry.
Yeah.
Yeah. You buffed both the monk and the knight for massive knight. Yeah, I think I made it all the way till 2 chaos before I knew some of the buff spells actually stack. And so I was just like buff. All right, now go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my winning chaos strategy.
Did you have any scandalous moments on stream? I sold the lightning gloves. Chat rioted.
I don't remember enough about those.
It was a long time ago.
I don't remember enough about those.
Okay.
I know in the moment there were some items where I was just like, hell yeah. And then, those were probably those were gear that let you use free abilities.
Yes.
Yeah, all of those are busted. They're so handy to have on board because they don't use up spell slots.
Yeah, that was weird.
And also, like, you get access to things you otherwise may not have access to, or at least you can then double up on spells and put spells on characters that maybe previously couldn't use those spells. Yeah, I would have probably. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I probably would have.
It's a nice chunk
been
of
a little
change.
scandalous with you. I'm surprised the
so many
manual
spells.
was so scandalous for you. Did you announce it at the very beginning of the stream?
Oh
First
yeah,
stream?
no, I had it printed out.
Okay,
so
that was your mistake.
I was
Yeah.
I was using it all the time.
Yeah, I think bringing it up later. I mentioned it to you of. I think I meant it as in case of emergency, break glass. Not so much like just start reading it right away.
Oh, I mean, I didn't follow it. It actually was a guide. Like it
Yeah,
was
it's a
straight
proper
up.
guide.
Yeah.
But it was shipped with the game, so I don't know why people are so mad.
Well, I think
it's the experience they wanted you to have.
But that's what I found so fascinating, right? Is that 1987 people needed a guide to hold their hand that deep into a game so they could fathom what a turn-based adventure would even feel like.
Yeah, but the games I was playing from that generation was Super Mario Brothers. Like, go forward.
Yeah.
Like, you'll eventually get where, if you're good enough, you'll eventually get to the end of the game. But with something like Zelda or Final Fantasy, the breadth of those games were massive by comparison, and it was very easy to get lost. So I understand. There's a reason there was a Nintendo helpline that existed just for people to call in and be like, how do I beat X? So, like, yeah. There's a reason guides were even an industry for so long and still are, and are maybe slowly chokeholding your favorite video game news website.
Well, that means some of those are getting a little suspect right now as the guides are actually publishing things that were many, many years ago. And people are wondering if they were AI generated or not.
Oh, God, that Final Fantasy 14 one that came up. Was that Kotaku?
Yeah, Kotaku ran one that it's worth getting the gear from Heaven's Word or something along those lines.
It was Realm Reborn gear, I
Oh,
believe.
really?
Yeah.
Well, it's the Mordana set. I do like it. It is handsome. It's still a good-looking set, for sure.
I don't care for those old sets personally.
I like
but,
them,
hey, I'm not going to yuck your yums. Are people still saying that? I think we killed that phrase. Found my old Majora's Mask guide, tattered and loved. I was a versus books guy because they had full art spreads.
Well, we went through a thing called the 2009 recession, which caused my opinion of game guides to change greatly. Because when I bought a $60 game, I wanted that thing to last, and every minute I spent inside of it had to have a dollar value.
The thing that killed guides for me was MMOs. World of Warcraft guides were shit and almost instantly out of date.
Yeah, they would move stuff, update things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going online for those guides.
Yeah, because I had a guide for Guild Wars and I had a guide for Vanilla World of Warcraft. And multiple times with both games, I just ran afoul of things that were just wrong or out of date.
A lot of things it comes down to, and I think a lot of people forget this, is your physical capabilities of completing the game were much lower. You didn't have the experience. I watched my son watch a video of Mario Wonder, a level playthrough. He goes and beats it, overjoyed, elated, completely unfazed by anything being spoiled. But as adults, we see that and we go, I'm so disappointed. I didn't get to figure that out for myself because we had the skills.
It depends on what type of person you are. I think there's a lot of people where spoilers are just not, they don't give a shit.
No, and I think that spoilers are less so in something like Dark Souls, where the game can be so oppressive and so hard to beat that still doing it is a feat.
Yes.
And you walk away going, yeah, I've seen that fight, but I did that fight. And now it's...
And then also, even if you beat it yourself, you can fight that boss 40 more times and you're going to get a little better every time. And maybe you're going to try with a different build. Maybe you're going to try doing it by parrying instead of dodging so much, just different things. Like it's the same thing. It's like I did a track day towards the end of COVID, an actual track day in an actual car at an actual track. There's a historic track in Central Florida called Sebring. I paid, took my personal car there, and I drove it. I had driven that track hundreds of times in Forza.
Yeah.
Completely different doing it in real life. It took nothing away. If anything, it added to it, because when you do it if I had a halfway decent sim rig that I built myself at home, you don't have the G-forces. You're not feeling your body get thrown to the side of your car as you take a turn at 80 miles an hour.
The adrenaline of it.
Yeah, you're not listening to your tires at the edge of their limits start to slip and give way, and it's the same thing. Anything that's like where you can do it better every time.
I mean, you're describing how could you not read Hien's line at the top of the screen during the Gimlet Dark? Like, I'm like, I didn't even see it, man. There's robots exploding. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're the same way for that most of the time. We miss dialogue cues in 14 all the time because we're both very visually motivated. We're like, why are you looking at dialogue, you weirdo? Did you see how much the artist ate in this scene? Sorry, served. We ate.
Yes,
they served.
yeah, served. Yeah,
They just served, and you're reading text. But
I think that Final Fantasy 1 had amazing. I know it's been balanced a lot over time. It's been changed quite a bit over the years. It had that break me power to it, where I want to play it again. I want to try it with 2 red mages and see if I can do like super duper buff. And then once I've completed that, like more invested buff build, okay, let's pull back from buffs. Let's see if I can do it with a spellcaster. Let's see if I can do a black mage or not.
yeah,
It had some special sauce that I did not expect from a game that old.
I'm not saying quest text is an art guy. I like the all caps. Reading text because 14 quest text is art. Yes. It is. I was pretty much surprised from the beginning to end with Final Fantasy 1. I found it just delightful. Found it really fun, and it made me realize that turn-based games, even though I didn't really grow up with them, and the only one I've beat at nauseum is Pokemon Red, are a major gaming comfort food for me. I had a lot of self-realizations with that, and I got to say, I think it's pretty cool that I'm having that realization at this old of an age.
Nice.
I don't know. It's like cool. I can still be passionate about this shit. I can still geek out over something old that I missed in my youth. I just think that's neat. It was just kind of an all-around awesome experience.
Sometimes hype lives up, and that's great.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is there wasn't really hype. Like, everyone wants you to play 7. Everyone wants you to play 6. 9, I feel like gets a lot of love. But like I never felt a clamoring for 1.
I think for me, it was more that the foundations were functional.
4 as well. Yeah, 4 gets a lot.
Yeah, I mean, all basically beyond 6 and 6. Like, everyone's gonna have their favorites. It's not even something you can.
My personal desire is 8. I've told stories many times about how, as an N64 kid, when 8 came out, and I would be reading game magazines at the grocery store while my mom shopped, 8 just looked like the coolest thing I'd ever laid eyes upon. Like, I just loved Squall's character design. The idea of a gunblade broke my brain. I was just you couldn't tell me shit. Like, that was like, there will never be anything cooler than a sword that has a gun in it. So I've never even like scratched the surface of 8, and that's my personal most want to play.
12 for me. Yeah,
is 12. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see 12.
I scratched the surface of 12, and I really don't like the combat. It's rough because I really like the setting, but the combat I think is just bad. It's single player MMO. It's like tab targeting. It's very strange.
But
But it's a
interesting.
single player game. Yeah, I was like, ooh, I don't know. This is gonna be rough.
From what I've told, it sounds like something went wrong there. That you were missing out on the Gambit system. That you're supposed to do the
I
programming.
didn't get very deep. I'll say that.
Yeah.
much. I didn't get very deep, and then it was very early into us starting to do 14 content, and I started to get this wind of we might play more of these together. And
So I should put this
probably
down.
Said there were
Yeah.
there were
That'll
really 2
happen.
factors with that. One, I was like, this is some of the worst combat I've ever experienced, and 2, I think we were stepping into Heaven's Ward, and I was like, I might want to talk about this in tandem with Kyle. I should probably stop. So I didn't give it. I was kind of personally incentivized not to continue.
I probably would have bought Space Marines. I probably would have coughed up the money. I'm excited for that game.
Space Marine?
Yeah, Space Marine 2.
How do we get there?
Oh, because, well, stream choices.
Oh.
Things I would clearly already be playing if it wasn't for
yeah.
chance of playing it together at some point.
Yeah, I'm not going to stream Outlaws because I just think Star Wars fans are the worst people on earth. Yeah, I think it's really ironic. I used to have a podcast called Let's Talk About Star Wars, and I can think of nothing I want to do less in this world than talk to other human beings about Star Wars.
That's fair.
I love Star Wars, and people who don't like one specific thing about Star Wars just can't have that.
Yeah.
They just cannot let you sit there and enjoy Star Wars.
No.
And I think they're the worst. So yeah. Yeah. Shall we fire up Discord, see if there's any
Yeah, sounds good.
questions?
Sounds good.
I think we kind of got into this one from Kuroka already of what classic Final Fantasy do you want to tackle next? 8 is the top of the list for me, and it sounds like 12 is the top of the list for you.
Yes, because the combat system.
Yeah. It'll probably be 7, just get it done.
Oh, just
get
to
it out of our system.
It's such a.
Also, I really want to play Remake, and I would love it if we could go on that journey and have it done before the third and final game comes out in the Remake trilogy.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of game.
It is a lot of game,
We'll
but
see what happens.
we have an incentive to get there.
Also, yeah, Stranger of Paradise would be interesting.
Oh, that'd be fun as shit because it
Yeah.
has co-op.
It does have
of
co-op.
some kind. I don't
And then
know
apparently
exactly
it's a retelling of the Final Fantasy 1 of some mode. Something's going on there.
Yeah.
Because the Chaos is in there. And we know him.
Yep.
He was stuck in a time loop.
I think it's a prequel. I think. I'm assuming it's a
It
prequel.
was so freaking bogus.
If Chaos is
I
there.
loved it so much. I died, but I sent my fiends forward in the past when I was sent back in time by the fiends, therefore creating a time loop for infinite power. Sure. You know what?
Okay.
Good enough.
Oh man, we should do that. That'd be fun. It's not a mainline Final Fantasy though. Doesn't count.
But it's
When
co-op.
I'm asked what classic FF are you going to play next, Stranger of Paradise. I don't think is an answer.
No,
I don't
sadly,
think that
no,
counts.
I don't think that would count.
Biggest Final Fantasy 1 fan in the world, Soldier Hawk asks, is Final Fantasy 1 the best game or the bestest game? Please answer in a 5-paragraph essay format between 1,000 and 5,000 words.
Well, I think we definitely did that today. I said more than 5,000, I think, while we were
Yeah,
sitting
I
here.
think-
So
I
he
think-
already got his essay, but it is a best game for sure.
I think we got there. Yeah. Any thoughts on Visions of Mana? The layoffs bum me out.
Yeah, I saw
Rowan.
that too. Yeah.
I haven't played it. It feels mean to say it's not a game that appealed to me in its previews after layoffs because that sucks, effort and stuff went
There
into
can
it.
be all
But
kinds of things that turn you off of a
I
game.
wasn't personally invested in it to begin with, and now I'm just like, well, that blows.
I played Children of Mana, which apparently is one of the worst manas to ever get your teeth cut on.
Okay,
So
so you made a horrible mistake.
I do not have a strong opinion. I'm willing to change my mind, but the time I put into Children of Mana was time that I wrongfully spent more time trying to rectify and did not have a good time and result of.
Oh yeah, I see an oof in chat to your comment, Kyle.
Yeah.
Children, man, it's pretty dang bad, says Tingle. Okay. And Jeremy Carl says old Star Wars fans are pretty dang bad. Thank you for agreeing with me, Jeremy. Mythos Midnight says, what feels like the next reasonable Final Fantasy book club game you guys would want to tackle for solo whimsy streams? Or non-Final Fantasy could be another cozy 8 or 16-bit era game like Secrets of Mana or Dragon Warrior. Chrono Trigger, I think, is at the top of the list for both Kyle and myself.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
We have both never made it through that. I've never even started that game.
I've started a few times. It's a lot of reading, though. It is very, very text heavy. So it's one of those where I would want my reading Human Garrett with me. It's not something that I would be terribly comfortable tackling.
I think
with
it's
that many words.
I'm going to start thinking about these types of projects when we're caught up on 14.
Sure.
So, yeah. Which I know we were already talking about doing 7 this year, and it increasingly is looking like that's not going to happen. But we will get there.
Well, there was a full expansion and things got busy, and I had another kid, which, and the move. And so much happened this year.
It's been a 2024.
It has been a lot. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It has been a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of ones that are like reasonable, I'd have to imagine it'd be the earlier ones. I'd like 2 sounds like it's surmountable in a week, even though it's not a particularly popular one.
Yeah, weird. It's a weird one for sure.
3 as well, I think is a fairly reasonable hour count if you're just trying to get through it. So, yeah. What would be a good parameter of comfy, cozy RPG-esque Paper Moon? Honestly, for me, I think it's just turn-based. Because it's just this, like, you can just relax the whole time.
That's certainly a factor. Because I know plenty of people who say, oh, I can't play Darkest Dungeon. It's too stressful.
There's some, like think of action games like FF16. You can pause it, but and like now put it under the umbrella of streaming. You go to a stream and the screen is paused. there's probably a little part of your lizard brain that goes, oh, they're on a break right now. This is uninteractive. But if you're just sitting there looking, like making decisions on your attacks, that's still active because as far as the game and the constraints of it, it's still an active part of the game.
I think a lot of it is about the exchange between downtime and uptime. Like one thing great about streaming MOBAs was that you had the matchmaking time period and you would spend 10 minutes with your chat, talk about what just happened in the match, what you're going to do in the next match, what you're thinking of drafting, why you're picking what you're picking, what the teams are, why you're picking your talents as you walk across and farm that lane. There's got to be some downtime. And Final Fantasy 16, one has a tearing issue. It's just modern streaming. It's not far enough along to look as good. It's going to tear on screen, and streams don't look great.
What is?
Final Fantasy 16. There's just too much stuff going all the time. I haven't seen a single stream that doesn't tear, which is, for me, like, when I looked at
I thought our stream looked pretty good.
Oh, it looked good enough. But
60 FPS really helps.
But I was sad after the fact because, like, it's such a visual feast to then go look at
Welcome
the stream
to
and
my
be like,
world.
and be like, no, but you should have seen what I saw. It was so cool. But it's so intense. There's no time to interact
part
with
of
chat.
that part of that issue is the PS5 cannot hit a consistent 60 frames, so that'll probably be a lot better on the PC version.
I wonder if that would affect your stream, being at 60 frames.
If the frame rate is not equally divisible by your output, it causes weirdness.
Right.
So if at some point it's running at 30, other times it dips down to like 28 or something weird, and you're streaming at 60, suddenly when it dips below 30, it's not equally divisible anymore, and the frames aren't lining up.
Yeah, true.
It's the same reason why you need to worry about your frame rate on your camera and also your shutter speed when you're doing video with any sort of
Right, you've been teaching me all about that.
high end camera, higher end. We can get so much more expensive than what we use, but in my world, these are the most lovely pieces of technology I've ever laid hands upon. And you got people out there with your red cameras and all that kind of shit. But yeah. But for me, comfy and cozy, it's just like there's just that thing with turn-based RPGs where like it's like floating in a pool or a sauna, or even if you're into sensory deprivation or meditation or reading, where you're just at the same level of engagement the entire time. You're not at most when it upticks, it's critical thinking uptick because you're really thinking about how to min and max your abilities and where they're going. But you're at no point are you trying to coordinate better than you were before. And so it's the closest I can think of in gaming beyond visual novel and games like that to just having a steady energy the entire gameplay experience.
Yeah.
And that's something I really like about turn-based, and it's something that other types of games just don't give you. And it doesn't mean I don't like other games, but turn-based is definitely where I am the most relaxed.
You mentioned like flow state when you talk about World of Warcraft, or even while we were doing Guild Wars, like you kind of enter this just farm mode. And it's fun, but I feel like it keeps my hands busy and my brain is free, which is nice for one mood. But that's not what I would call cozy. I think the way you described cozy was great, where it escalates in moments. Like I was not paying attention all the time in Final Fantasy 1. We were hanging out, but then that moment of sudden interest and being like, hold up, everybody, shut up.
Oh, it's the meme of when you lean forward in the chair.
Yeah, and being like, I need to pay it. Oh my God, chaos is actually a big deal. This is so cool. Or when you would meet was he called the curator in Darkest Dungeon? Like when you meet these random encounters that are just such a difficulty spike, you have to go like, hold on, stop everything. Oh my God, this is so interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's also what makes it a good spectator experience, because especially if they're in the know and the streamer isn't, because then Marsh Cave's coming up and you're like, get ready to learn about poison.
Yeah.
And all those kind of things, and the Mind Flayer chest and everything that came with it. So yeah, it's those moments. So yeah, it's a good. If you can't tell, we really enjoyed ourselves. So yeah, Leah is curious as to how FF1 met or didn't meet our expectations or preconceived notions. What genre? Excuse me, we had lunch before this. What genre conventions might you have been expecting that weren't there, or what might have caught you off guard as to was there? I was surprised at how classical fantasy it felt.
Oh, after Final Fantasy has really kind of embraced its sci-fi over the years.
To a certain degree, yeah. And I realize there's like Dragon Quest, which is also fairly, I think, what I think of when I think of classical fantasy, and just swords and sorcery type stuff. I was a little warned going in that there wasn't a ton of narrative content there, so I wasn't massively surprised when I didn't find a lot of narrative content. But just that, like, there's just an elf village, and you just go there and there's elves, and you talk to the elves. Like, that's just like, that is as old school fantasy as you get. And knowing that this was like the bedrock of what became to know, at least in the West, as JRPGs. I know some folks like were trying to not use that term, and I think it's becoming increasingly less useful since there's not so much. Everything is not a turn-based RPG. In back in the day when I heard that term thrown around school, it basically just meant turn-based RPG.
Yeah, it would define a lot more about it.
Yeah, but for like the longest time, that's just the term we had to throw around. But it just felt like a role-playing game. Like it felt like it would it transcend genre, or like it felt like it embraced genre, but not in the way I expected it. I don't know. It didn't feel intently.
I'd call it timeless.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way.
And
to put it.
I think it was a real victory of the Pixel remaster that people coming by who don't watch streams like that, who haven't seen Final Fantasy 1 multiple times, went, whoa, this is just like I remember. And someone would be like, well, these spells were named this, and the cost of this was different. It was actually really hard to do this. And everyone's just like, yeah. But the vibe is there. And it was functioning. And there was 1987 things in there. Like when I defeated the Lich, hell yeah, I fought a Lich. And I walked into the town and a kid is like, please save our village. I'm like, well, he didn't update. Aw, poor kid. He still thinks that the village is under attack. I guess he wasn't an important side character. Bummer. But it had a lot more interwoven parts than I expected it to.
Yeah. Yeah, Svent, thanks for the 15 months. Said if you want another cozy adventure, FF11 has a similar feel to the first game, but let's change jobs. Okay, all right.
That would be 3.
What'd I say?
11.
Oh, I didn't.
No, it's all good.
I read it as 3. I don't know why I said 11.
Oh, it happens.
Anyway, and then Soldier Hawk, thanks for the super legit. Thank you for playing my personal favorite / most nostalgic game and sharing it with all of us. What a massive joy it was. So I'm glad you enjoyed both our playthroughs, Soldier.
Yeah.
Because I legitimately had a good time. None of this is toxic positivity or attempting to be fun because it was financially successful. Like, it was just a good time.
No, it was a freaking bedrock of an entire franchise that I'm enjoying the fruits of in a meta way with Final Fantasy 14. It was really
that's
interesting.
Probably my biggest surprise was how much the meta of it all kind of melted away for me, and I just enjoyed it for what it was. And then I saw the the credit scene, and I'm like, hey, we're going to the first.
Yeah.
And then it hits. I'm like, oh, Final Fantasy 1, the first. And now that's just canonically what the world between worlds looks like in Final Fantasy 14. But the first time we see it, we're going to the first, which is Leo Point, Final Fantasy 1. But for the most part, like, there were a couple times where I was like, hey, I get these, I understand these references.
I know who those people are.
But now I don't think of it. I thought at the end I would think of Final Fantasy 1 more as a guide to enjoying the references of Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers, and instead I'm sitting here today and I just think of it as Final Fantasy 1 and the experience I had with that game. And so that was probably to go back to that question that was asked earlier. Probably it. Yeah. Caddy, what you saying? Lots of modern indie stuff would probably fit the tandem solo stream format well if you ever need to bust it out in the future. Yeah, I need to finish Sea of Stars. I'm about halfway through it, personally.
Nice.
That game is fun. I don't love the active crit thing, which I think started in one of the Mario RPGs, where if you press a button at the right time.
What are you playing it on?
Console?
Which console?
Xbox?
Okay. It matters to me because that is not something I would want to do on a TV. I'm in a whole different vibe on a TV. But if you gave me that on a Game Boy or a Switch, I kind of like it.
Paper Mario? Okay. It breaks my coziness of turn-based. I want to assign my attacks and that's it.
It feels different when you're holding it. It really does.
I am holding it.
In your hands.
Yeah.
And your hands are looking at your hands.
I cannot imagine playing any sort of like isometric top-down RPG with anything other than a controller.
But
Seems perverse to play with a mouse and keyboard.
What? No. What? No.
So where's the...
What?
I'm playing it on a console. I'm holding
Yes.
it.
Yes,
so
I
what are
know.
you talking
But
about?
the screen is in your hands on a Switch and a Game Boy.
Oh, you're talking about... Okay, I thought you were talking about PC. I blanked out there.
No, no.
It wouldn't make a difference for me.
Okay.
I straight up don't like it.
That's why I play Red Mage on controller, because when a MMO yells at me to press a button, I'm like, shut up. How dare you?
My brain rejected everything it told me because the only reason it can make any difference is if you're tapping a key on a keyboard, I think is what happened to me just now.
Okay.
I went into a fugue state of
okay.
rejecting the thing I disagreed with.
Fair enough. It makes a difference to me. And I think handheld, if you were holding it, I think you might want to tap that screen a little more.
Yeah. No, I did press down plus B while throwing Pokeballs, but that was only a thing that happened when you're trying to catch Pokemon. It wasn't inherent to the constant battle in Pokemon, and it would have pissed me off if it was.
I see what you mean about like having to be on point feels weird.
Yeah, it's not why I'm playing these games. The big attraction to these types of games is that I don't need to be on point. For me. Back to that definition of what's cozy.
The design flaw, in your opinion.
You know what's not cozy? Timed hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, not cozy. I think there's an item in Sea of Stars that does it for you. I think.
Kind of like Final Fantasy 16 put on the bracelet.
Sea of Stars has some
gives you-
abilities, have some
Okay.
like rings, actually, which is also like Final Fantasy 16. Yes. Like aid items.
Those are a whole mental experiment that we don't have to get into today.
Correct.
Because I don't know if I like that at all. I hate the idea of them. I don't want...
But it can't be that A and B because one of the characters has an ability that can almost go infinite if you're good enough. There's a bounce attack.
It probably has a limited amount of activations.
I would have to imagine.
On those.
Is it just an accessibility setting? Okay, it's been a bit. I started it months ago, and then I got distracted.
Okay. Well, if it's an accessibility, then turning it on means you're having a better time, not costing you the slot. See, that's where I get a little like tilted on Final Fantasy 16. I'm like, I want that, but now it's an optimization problem because I can't have a ring in that slot later on. And lo and behold, I have opinions on what they've done.
Kyle have opinions?
I know.
I've
Rarely.
never heard of such a thing. Not even once. You just say hey and how you do. You know, you just keep.
But because you're opening various windows.
Oh yeah. I'm having to podcast from your home instead of mine, and I don't know where things are.
I was gifted a Doomstalker, a canopic Doomstalker in the PO box. So thank you so much for that, as I've been enjoying building that this past weekend.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Made a nice little base for it and everything.
That's sick. Hell yeah. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this talk, which means we want to thank our wonderful supporters over at supportourbromance.com. Also, if you're supporting us on the YouTube membership, we really appreciate it. And support us wherever you want the perks. If you want the YouTube stream perks, become a YouTube member. If you just want to support us, check out supportourbromance.com. That's our statement on that. And to our latest patrons, we want to thank Frank TT, Joshua Smith, and Adam Schultz. Thanks for going out of your way and supporting us on Patreon. It is the #1 way to support us. You know, we don't have like we're not blowing you up with sponsorships or anything like that. So check out supportourbromance.com. And also there's, our legendary level backers, which we thank each and every episode. So huge thanks to Sean B, Cheesy Bob, Chris K, Lost Mythics, Wayra E, Zervon, Comsci Jedi, Darkman, Pothy P, Bloodsy Vaughn, Snugglegore, Avane, Shinigio, Nicholas C, Coral, Thulm, Jerry T, Sean and Jen, and Vernacular Ham. Thank you very much. And I know I'll see some of you very soon for the GG Meet. What is the date on that? I should probably commit that to memory.
Soon?
Yeah. Hey, we're full up for the live meet, and if you RSVP to the live meet and you can't make it, let me know. Because I have a little bit of a wait list, which, by the way, you can still get on the wait list if you want to come to the hotel portion of the meetup, just get in contact. It's short enough I can manage it myself. Let me know you want to come. I'll add you to the wait list. It's a fire code thing. So yeah. Anyway, it's September 28th on a Saturday. We're meeting at the Lake Buena Vista Hyatt for a daytime get together. We're gonna have some live GG action, and then that evening we're going to the Orlando Player One video game bar, and that's open. If anyone wants to come to that, come on by. That's just a casual hangout at a video game bar. And then we're doing an unofficial meetup at Epcot on Sunday the 29th. So we can't get you in or anything, but if you want to run around and have some alcohol with us or non-alcoholic beverages, your decision at Epcot, you're more than welcome to come. So yeah, it's going down at the end of the month. So anywho, we'll see you later, everybody. Thanks so much for watching or listening on the podcast version.
Watching in the live version.
Yeah.
Hanging out while we're a bit late today as we finished recording an extra big video today. Also, lights. You can see how pretty the lights are in here. We did some work in here today.
We're not as grainy as we typically are at Kyle's home.
Yeah, so
it's Studio
quality
K.
improvement at Studio
K. We're gonna
K.
need to get you some powder.
Oh yeah, that's always been an issue when I sit close to the lights.
Svetty man.
I'm just an oily guy.
Me, I'm used to Florida.
Yeah.
Look at my dry forehead.
I mean, I got it, man. Like, oh, geez.
Wow, your t-shirt tan is real.
Dude, it's intense.
Holy crap.
Yeah, isn't it?
Do you not take your shirt off at the beach?
Well, because my kids wear tops.
We talked about this.
It didn't make the video, though. It got it out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Kyle figured it out. If your children are like, I don't want to wear a shirt, you wear a shirt yourself. And then...
So I wear a swimming shirt. They wear a swimming shirt. But I am debating doing my runs with my shirt off to try to recover some of that.
That's how I eventually got my mom to stop making the most hated dinner for me growing up, which was like frozen ham, steak, and peas.
What'd you do?
I called out the hypocrisy because Dad wouldn't eat it.
Oh, that's a good strategy.
He would just make a salad and have a little baguette. And I was like, and I hated salad. I was like, I'd rather have that. I also had to sleep at the table one night, and I did. I got the ultimatum.
You really showed
you
up.
You will eat when we serve you, or you will sleep at the table. And I stood up. I went to my bedroom. I grabbed my pillow. I moved the plate to the counter. I put my pillow down. I put my head down. And I slept there all night. And they never made ham steak again. This is also why I hate ham. And that's the end of the podcast.
Nice.
Hey, stream, what's up? That's the end of the official recording. Let's put a break there.
Yes.
GG, back at you, Lenny. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the 9 months. I know we missed a couple of other things. Where was it? There's the Zelda timelines. Wolfhorn, thanks for re-upping. Kura super during Kyle's vasectomy conversation that this is the point where I officially know too much about Kyle.
No, sorry about that.
Yeah. Christopher Clayton said low. Thomas Russell said hi.
Hi.
Imarashi said time to just watch DBZ abridged, Kyle. It's all satire. It is not a terrible retelling, but
I'm sure
it's going to break your brain if you're trying to understand DBZ for the pop culture impact
I'll
that it had.
I'll do the Kai thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually out of isekais for the season that are on my list.
You have a list? I thought you just watch whatever it shoves in your face.
It's not showing me anything else right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm all caught up.
Wow.
I'm all caught up.
You know it's bad when Crunchyroll runs out of isekais.
Yeah, they're out, man. I've watched them all.
And then all the way back at the beginning, Calzone with their 25 months saying, it's me. And nice to see you two crazy kids back together again. Excited to listen to you both. Share notes on FF1. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show, Cal. And then Das, thanks for 26 months, said, have a nice Monday, boys. I'm going to see an early screening of Speak No Evil tonight. That movie looks creepy.
Sounds creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Looks creepy. I'm done. I've seen every Child's Play movie.
Nice. Congratulations.
And I'm 3 episodes in the season 2 of the Child's Play show. But it's called Chucky. It's not called Child's Play.
Okay.
Only the first 3 movies were called Child's Play, and then they got rid of Child's Play, and then it was
they should.
The Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
The Seed of Chucky. The Curse of Chucky, and the Cult of Chucky.
Well, the Chucky is way more, knowable.
Yes.
I don't know what Child's Play is.
I do, because Child's Play 2 is probably in the top 3 of posters at Blockbuster that scared the shit out of me.
Oh, one of those.
Child's Play
yes.
2 is the one where it's the Jack in the Box and he's behind it with the hedge clippers.
Yeah, They Live would be mine.
That's a spooky one. It was that. For me, it was that top 3 for scary posters is probably that. Silence of the Lambs, the moth in the mouth with the skull on the moth.
It was just bothersome. I wouldn't say scary.
That
It
one
was just
scared
bothersome.
me. And then, Evil Dead probably.
Evil Dead had
Which
one.
is really funny now, knowing that
No,
it
no,
makes
you
me
love it
laugh.
so
and
much.
One of my favorite
There
things
was that
ever.
really disturbing. What was it? Showgirls. That title was really disturbing.
With the naked lady in the shape of an S.
Yes.
Why did that disturb
Well, she had
you?
no arms and one leg. It was just creepy.
Oh,
She was like snaking
I
her
knew
whole
it was.
body.
I knew it was about strippers because of like Access Hollywood or whatever. They were like Showgirls, like the most risque movie ever made. And it was like on just cable, and I was just like, you know, right on the doorstep of puberty, being like, "Oh my, what is this?" And so when it showed up in Blockbuster, I knew what
that
it
helped
was.
describe what it was.
Yeah,
They
so-
should have given that a thought.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, there was. Yeah, there was a time where almost naked women was novel. I'm still waiting for that to wear off.
Yeah.
That's a joke. I don't have a sound. I don't have a sound bar, soundboard. Kura supered out of anime. Time to recommend obscure anime that only I watch, like Detective School Q, Sakura Sao, and the subbed version of Ghost Stories.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go ask Kristen. All right. Detective School Q.
Oh my God, Kyle's leaving.
Hey, Kristen, have you ever watched Detective School Q? Sakura Sao?
Sakura.
Sakura Sao? Ghost Stories.
All right. I think that was a 3 strikes and
Yeah.
Kristen's out.
All right, Kira. Yeah, super. Because so Kristen's high school job was working at a video store.
Yeah,
So
we've been over this.
She got really obscure animes and never heard of them.
You two started dating, and she was just like, "Get on my level, anime nerd."
Yeah. Watch all these. All right, so they're all those are obscure, officially obscure.
Yeah. Katie was my gateway to horror movies, so we both had media adventures with our now wives.
Oh, mine would have been I shared BioWare with her, so she had never played KOTOR.
Oh, Katie
BioWare.
never. Kyle.
Yeah, that'll
Slip.
happen. It'll happen.
Katie had never seen Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one for me.
That was a big one.
That was a big one for me. Yeah, and now she has cosplayed as a screen accurate scout trooper, and owns so many pieces of clothing that reference Ahsoka Tano. It's not even close. She also has a Wicket the Ewok necklace that she wears frequently.
Nice.
Yeah. It pained her to be a scout trooper, but in her headcanon, her scout trooper befriended an Ewok.
Oh, but Scout Troopers are badass.
They are badass.
Yeah.
And
badass.
it was the only one we could get together that would fit her in time.
I love the Scout Troopers. Probably my favorite trooper.
Scout troopers don't have a ton of armor, so it's really easy to kind of scale if you just get access to some of the armor. Most of it's soft. Actually, it's the same jumpsuit as a TIE pilot.
Okay,
so you can
then
order,
you can
order a TIE pilot jumpsuit in your size, and then the other armor are just placed
Goes
around you,
over
so
it.
it scales down really nicely.
Oh, I love those. He was always the hero. My Luke got a lot of play, but the Scout Trooper was the real champion whenever I play with my Star Wars toys.
That was one of my favorites because the only one I had was the one that came with the speeder bike. And that was,
That's the one I
that was
got.
just the coolest freaking toy.
And he had those knees, and they weren't good for doing much else, but it didn't matter. I had my imagination.
Yeah. You press the little sack on the back and it explodes.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
It's the coolest damn toy.
I still got it. It gets played with to this day.
My mom took me to Toys R Us in Iowa because we were visiting family, and I was bored out of my skull. And she's like, "All right, we're gonna go to Toys R Us one day, and we're gonna get you a toy to keep you interested."
Yep.
I got the speeder bike.
Those are the good ones.
That was the same trip where I was roughhousing with my cousin, and I straight up put his head through a door.
Damn.
Yeah, we were just wrestling, and
It'll happen.
Yeah, and he like
Freebie?
I think it was like kind of lion style, like kick up over the top, and his head just threw it.
Just
broke
freebie.
the
Everyone
door.
walked away. fine?
Oh no, he had to go to the hospital.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Oh, well, you put his head through a door.
Yeah,
properly.
he came back an hour later, so really all they did was just like confirm he didn't
was
have a
okay.
concussion
Huh.
and gave him a little bandage because he was bleeding. But yeah, not concussed somehow.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the only. It was me, my brother, and our two cousins, and I was the only one who left that trip uninjured. My older cousin Sarah was climbing their clothesline and stabbed her leg on the end of it where it was cut because they had a metal clothesline.
Oh,
So kind of like a
Yeah.
protruding.
yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh,
It was bad. She had to get a tetanus shot. Yeah, she actually.
yeah. No roughhousing with Garrett.
She did not have a good time at the hospital.
Rough.
Yeah, don't. I had nothing to do with that. I was seeing the neighbors' baby pet pigs that were just born, and
Like you do in Iowa.
yeah, yes. I mean, there's not much else to do other than hang out in cornfields.
Get Star Wars toys and pet the baby
I
pig.
was so bored. I thought cornfields were cool though.
Well, hopefully we can be cool grandparents someday.
Yeah, with any luck. That was the trip where they ran out of seats in the van that they rented, and I sat on a cooler, and I think about safety procedures nowadays.
I mean,
and I'm just like, how am I alive?
I slept in the back of our wagon. You know, we had a Volkswagen wagon. They just set up a bed back there. We got pulled over once. I had to jump over the seat real quick and buckle in. But
yeah.
just, you know,
Yeah, no,
that's what we did.
My grandpa had a station wagon. I wanted to sit in back.
Yeah.
It was cool. There's so much room for activities.
Yeah. Just play
Yeah,
back
don't
there.
do that, by the way. Like 100%.
Well, it was the 90s, you know. We didn't know any better.
Yeah. I've had many a trip in car trunks, yeah. Kate, when we first got our home that we have now, we brought home our first patio chairs. All we had were two-door cars. Katie had a Scion FRS, if you know what that car is, and I had my second Mustang. I opened the trunk in the Mustang, and the back seats went back. Katie laid in the back, and then
did the hold?
held them.
Yeah.
Because our Walmart, as you know, is quite close.
It's a strategy.
Yeah, and I just slow rolled it on the back roads, and I didn't want to do it. Katie's like, "This is stupid. It's right around the corner."
Nowadays, I'd go rent a U-Haul or something and just
Yeah.
like get it done for the
well,
day.
now we
but
have the 4Runner.
you know,
yeah,
improvise.
yeah. Don't
Don't be
don't do
fools.
those. Don't do those things.
But you know, growing up's hard.
Don't you? Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to go to the corner store in the back of the pickup truck all the time.
Yeah.
So we always had a pickup truck growing up. And I would just, I loved standing in the back pretending I was like in Lost World hunting dinosaurs.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that was my shit. Honestly, would probably still love doing that. Wind in your hair, bugs in your teeth.
Probably still would enjoy that. Well, we got a lot of video to upload.
Yes.
I'm gonna make the schedule for this week.
Yep.
We'll get you home.
I gotta go home.
Thanks for watching,
I
everybody.
haven't seen Katie for 4 days.
Yeah. Get your buns home.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for the stream.
Thanks for watching.
Or thanks for watching. We streamed. You're welcome. That's
Thanks for
that's
this.
presumptuous.
I like thanks for the stream. I like that.
It wouldn't happen without them.
Yeah, that was participatory. I liked it.